Good morning. It's Tuesday, July 1st, 8:30 a.m., and we are here for consent agenda review. Are there any items on consent agenda that stood out to you guys?
It's Carrie here. Or maybe Rob, what are we doing with we should have signed the contract for the CHG. And then is it EHF or EHF, that grant? So it was gone previously at CDMS, wanted it for the warming center. Is it still going to the warming center? Or
No,
what will that?
they didn't take any. I don't know if it's broke down yet. Did she give a breakdown at your last task force meeting?
No.
Like 2 weeks ago when I was asking about that, that hadn't been determined by the state yet of how much funds we were getting. Maybe a week ago.
Last thing I had heard was that we wouldn't get anything from the Department of Commerce until this week at the earliest.
And
we
then,
should have had something in the contract. Do we not sign a contract yet?
no, we might not get any funds for that this year because we don't have an emergency housing, so we might actually not qualify for any of the recording fee money either, because it puts us out of compliance in the state's 5-year plan. So Carrie's supposed, well, yeah, it might be this week that she gets that info.
New Hope isn't considered. Usually it falls under New Hope and
not from what she had said.
the Commerce lady.
Well, that's, yeah, what Carrie said.
Oh.
I think she's home. Not sure. Yeah, she's home. So.
Carrie?
Yep.
Yeah, she's on now.
Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning.
I am just curious, CHG, since we started a new year, do we have a contract or?
Yes, we just got the contract Friday of last week.
Okay.
And I sent it over to legal to review.
Is there a breakdown of, are we still getting the CHG?
Yeah, I haven't done the breakdown yet. With the issue of Hope Source pooling their costs across multiple counties on that they have the same grant for, legal was going to look at it, adding in a new clause to the subrecipient agreement. So while they're doing that, I was going to work on a breakdown.
Okay. And then do we still have the is it EHF or EFH, or they changed the
EHF, that one ended June 30th, but we will still have a couple more reimbursement requests come in through July for June, but it's now emergency homeless under the CHG. So everything is under CHG now. They won't be separated out any longer.
Okay. All right, and you feel like we were still getting the full amount for the CHG that we previously had, or Rob said we're losing some of that?
It's probably about 10% less than last year.
And then without having the sleep center, you said that would impact us?
It's going to, as far as the 5-year plan, unless we can come up with some scenario or strategy to help with the homeless situation. I think Caitlin has a overview of what Crosby had sent with some suggestions.
That would have been that first portion of that packet.
Yeah.
So as long as we can fill in other ways, the summary of what the consultant sent over was that we are okay if we can fill it in other ways and prove that we can fill it in. So it'd be like hotel motel vouchers and maybe like some services like short-term housing for specific people. She broke it down in this letter that she sent to us, and it's basically just stuff that.
Because we've always had the opportunity to do the vouchers, the hotel motel vouchers.
Yes, but there's a certain, like, since we don't have the sleep center as an option anymore, we would have to provide budgets for hotel motel vouchers and like places that they would be able to redeem the hotel motel vouchers and just go, if I understand it correctly, we'd have to be going into way more detail of those services in the 5-year plan. Whereas when we had the sleep center, we didn't necessarily have to do that. But without that option there, it sounds like Department of Commerce will be digging pretty deep into the other provider or the other services provided. And to see if we would actually be filling that.
I hate to lose it if that's an opportunity. Stephanie will not actively engaged in helping with this? Or?
Housing Authority did not seem interested in picking up that service.
Salvation Army, they do the hotel motel vouchers. I don't know if you can contract with. Okay. No, I just don't want to lose.
Well, no, she, like I said, she gave us options.
Some of the options was safe parking areas for individuals living in vehicles, tiny home or villages, other enhanced shelter models, mobile outreach teams offering in-place navigation and placement.
Okay, so I guess then we're waiting for the homeless task force. Are they the ones that is that the group that's working on this then?
No, it's with legal right now.
Okay.
I think she said she got it Friday, so.
Okay, well, no, not the contract, but I guess just to fill in the blanks. So that will be legal, that will be our office?
The CHG contract is with legal. The LDC Inc. stuff, when it comes to the 5-year plan, that's stuff that like, well, so Rob and I are working on it on our end, and they are looking into it on their end. So then when we have our next meeting, we'll discuss, and then once we have a draft of it, then it'll go to the task force to review. So.
Okay.
So the Salt Lake Sleep Center was done yesterday, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, with the EHF part of the CHG grant, City of Moses Lake did not apply for any funding. So I'm not sure what their plan is other than outreach.
So did we grab their funding opportunity or?
It's included with the CHG. It's just specific on how it has to be spent, which is basically towards homeless housing. And now that we don't have anything with basically it was used before for the sleep center. And part of it went to Hope Source and then part of it went to City of Moses Lake because they paid for different things in regards to the sleep center.
Just gonna Google it here and see what it says for funding. And it's EHF as in Frank.
Yeah. That's under the grant that the CHG grant that just finished. So under the newest one, they changed the name. Let's see. Where is it? Like funding.
Gosh, we can use it with low barrier shelter models for people who use drugs. You do it for vets.
Emergency housing is now what it's called. The EHF is now called emergency housing.
Okay, well, I guess that the contract would have come out. Not seeing it in my quick grab. Okay.
So it looks like the facility support part of the emergency housing under the newest CHG grant is for hotel motel expenses, moving cost, permanent housing, maintenance, salaries and benefits for employees that are, running the sleep center if we had one, or homeless shelter. So a lot of that, basically, the facility support on that one basically is for a homeless shelter or something similar to.
And they're also funding units, 1,200 affordable units across Washington. Residents earning 30% less. Okay. So we have this, we just don't know if we can use it because we have to have an itemized plan on our 5-year plan. So if we can get it in our 5-year plan, motel vouchers, whatever, then we can utilize these funds.
Yeah, right now with the emergency housing part of the CHG grant, about the only, I mean, New Hope could use it for their shelter. I know Hope Source did apply. But like I said, I was waiting for the legal team to add in that new clause about spending the grant money within Grant County. So I don't know if that's going to make an impact with Hope Source and them still wanting to
So it has
have
to go
that funding.
an entity. Would Veterans Assistance be able to utilize it? Because it says it could be used for vets.
That's what I was wondering.
Maybe with the on the 5-year plan, possibly under that funding. But the CHG we probably could. It doesn't. Nothing in the new guidelines says anything about veterans, but I mean, for homeless vets, I don't know why we wouldn't be able to.
Well, that would be a source that Tony would have to help.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it could be hotel, motel. And this is just my quick reading. I have not studied in depth like you have. Yeah, if they're learning or earning less than the median salary, they can help with purchasing, or I think it's even purchasing a house or rent. So maybe there's some more opportunities there for us. Sorry, it's just a new federal season. I hadn't heard a whole lot about it, and I thought, oh gosh, we're July 1. What's going on with the
Walk on some
funds?
Not that I've
Yeah.
I haven't heard of any.
I did just for consent wanted to bring up that public comment letter, item number 4. If you guys wanted to discuss that, it's not one that you've done before.
It was sent by Austin Rohr.
Sorry?
It was sent by Austin Rohr.
Yes. It's to the Northwest Power and Conservation Council on recommendations to the Fish and Wildlife Program.
Who sent this to us
So it was from Austin Rohr, and I forwarded it to you guys. That's from the Northwest River Partners. And again, I forwarded it because there's a portion of it's about like hydropower and the lower Snake River dams and that stuff that Danny was a part of when he was here. And neither Barb nor I could remember if Kevin had picked that up or if that was something that Danny just did.
I
on
think
his
Dan just
own.
did it.
Okay.
So I hadn't heard anything on that one. definitely support it.
Yeah, no, I'm good, sending it as well.
I don't know what the recommendations were.
Study it more. Oh. Or breaching the dam, study it with 21st century science.
Administration allowing those dams to come out. That's fine.
It used to be a blackout most of the state if you take the dams out.
Well, and if you talk to some of the Indians, the Indian tribes, they don't want them to go away either. Some of them do, but a lot of them that want them, they like them. Necessarily like them, but they're.
It's fun to feel good about everything, but you know, at the end of the day, you rely on power. So
That's just it. Half the time they don't have their lights or. I didn't have anything else, so everything else was fine. Rob, are you printing the 200 policy?
yeah.
Come on in.
Yeah, just announce it to them and they'll give us direction.
It's going. It's going. Too hot in here, cause I am.
It feels warm in here, but don't worry, it'll freeze right up.
Just give it an hour
an hour, like
I think
15
she put
minutes.
Thanks.
So it works better the hotter it gets?
No, I think we must be letting
No,
fresh
it's-
air in, and then it warms, it gets very warm, and then it freezes, then it gets very warm, and then it freezes. But we have fresh air.
It's got a mind of its own.
I was gonna say, if it works better the warmer it gets, you might have Kevin look at that. Doesn't seem right.
Oh, believe me, it'll come on here before too long. Like clockwork.
No, I would say that 2,745 ton, that's for all of solid waste. That's what I'm saying.
Anything else for this session?
I know.
All right, we'll go and recess until 9 a.m. All right, good morning, everyone. It is 9 a.m. and we are here for a weekly Public Works update. Welcome.
Good morning. First thing, I need my C1 consent item signature, the grant, ecology grant for litter removed. They emailed us yesterday and there might be they told us not to sign it, so we have a meeting with them tomorrow. Should know more, but I need that. I'm requesting that to be removed.
So on the consent agenda,
Yeah, it was authorization for me to sign. It's the litter grant for the next 2 years. So not sure what's going on. It was about 2:30 yesterday, so. Then I'm requesting an executive session for personnel.
Evaluation or disciplinary?
Disciplinary.
Rebecca Kaler is online. Are you wanting her in this executive session?
Yes,
Oh, do you want to do that one first since Rebecca's on?
yep, I didn't know she was online.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Okay, what's that one?
And I was
Litigate.
asked to be here by Barb, who's out sick today, Barb Durbeck, who's out sick today. So I don't know why she asked me to be here. So if there's something else that you want me here for, let me know. I'm here. So just let me know what you want me to be here for.
Okay, we'll do that one first.
How
So,
long do you want for that?
10 minutes, let's start with 10 minutes.
All right, we're going to be going into executive session for 10 minutes for litigation, RCW 42.30.1101I. And we have legal counsel online with us. We'll be going in from 9:02 a.m., returning at, you said 10 minutes, 9:12 a.m. Would you like to extend?
Yep.
5 minutes. Oh, wrong button.
which
Coming
looks
out.
like
Commissioners, it is 9:17.
It is 9:17. We are out of executive session.
So would now be a great time to entertain the W-9. Mr. Chair, I move that we, for the West Shore Drive project, that we relieve all the homeowners from filling out a W-9.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Caitlin, did you get that?
I have it, motion to have the homeowners of West Shore Drive fill out a W-9,
Not to fill out a W-9.
not to fill out. Thank you. Also, Rob, I apologize. Could you turn on the dais camera so we can see you guys?
And then would you like a motion to hire a consultant?
Yes, if possible, to
Do we need one?
move forward.
Do you need action on that?
No, I don't think we do.
But we could come back to
Yeah.
do something more formal next Tuesday.
Okay, I think that's it for that one. I'd like to request another executive session for personnel disciplinary.
And Andy, did you want me involved in this?
No, I don't think so, Rebecca.
Okay. All
Thank
right,
you.
thanks.
Thank
Talk to you later. Bye.
Going for this one?
Probably 10 minutes.
Yeah, we say, no, we don't want the attorney involved, but this attorney may need to be involved. We never want the attorney involved. Like the principal at school. I don't want to see the principal wants to see me. Okay, and just as a reminder, they can hear us outside the door. So be quiet.
They can hear the online person
Okay.
talking. All right, we'll be going into executive session, beginning at 9:19 a.m., returning at 9:29 a.m. for personnel disciplinary matters, RCW 42.30.1101F.
Well,
It is 9:29, we're out of executive session.
the job description for the engineer says that they all report to him. It'd be like, almost like a, you know, when the engineer isn't there, they would report to the assistant, but they have the same stuff in their job description, so that was another reason we were trying to address it, but we can talk about that next week because we're out of time.
Okay, then I won't put it on my agenda. Meeting at 10.
Unless if you have time, you want me to come to it? You want to discuss it?
If you want to, you're welcome to.
Would the board like that? Like we can come back at 10?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
And real quick, because I have an exclamation mark encircled, the speed limit for West Shore and Potato Hill. I think Barbara, Barb O'Neill, had some questions on the speed limit for West Shore. Was supposed to be 25, but without the school, it can now stay at 35. Anyway, we just need some directive on that.
Well, then she was asking about, well, she said that
Potato Hill.
Potato Hill was gonna be 25, it's actually gonna be 35, not 25. So,
Because we're doing ATVs at the same time.
Yeah, we can't go over 35 if we're allowing ATVs, right?
yeah, so it has to be 35.
In West Shore, I would advise just leaving it alone. Because it's-
25?
Well, no, it's 35.
35.
Just, and underneath the existing code, it's 35, so you just let it sit.
Okay.
And we will be chip sealing that a couple weeks for Potato Hill,
We're holding off till the end of the season.
trying to hit between two holidays. And
Yeah, we didn't feel like it was probably good to chip seal it this week before 4th of July for all the traffic will be on Potato Hill.
Probably really
Not just that, as it helps out with the striping crew and everything else, so.
We do have the Dune Lake Road speed study. Didn't get a chance to go over it, but I'll just leave it with you to review.
Thank you.
Hey, Andy, there was a message about this.
Cindy, thank you for bringing that up. So just to confirm, the board is in favor of West Shore at 35 and Potato Hill at 35. Was that what I just understood?
For the,
Yes.
Yes,
Process.
both 35. West Shore is already 35, and just leave it alone.
yeah.
Okay.
Leave it as is in the code.
Okay, and that's what the Board of County Commissioners is in support of.
You know, in a group email introduced them,
Barb, I don't want to
told them
put,
we entered into an agreement with
Let me-
them, but I haven't seen
Yeah.
it.
Get them,
Although, I don't
I
know.
don't
get them to vote on it.
So it was them and,
As far as we know.
Smart.
yeah, as far as I know, haven't heard any negative. So I think they're probably asking them stuff. I'm just not included in it.
Okay.
So
Mr. Chair, I move that we, just for clarification, West Shore speed limit 35 miles an hour and Potato Hill at 35 miles an hour. Follow the recommendation of our engineer. Probably would.
I would agree with that.
Okay, motion and a second then. Discussion, my discussion would be the speed limit is 35, so we don't need to make a decision on that, but the change of Potato Hill Road has an official process in order to change the speed limit. So do we even need a motion to allow you to move forward on working on that?
I'm just clarifying this, so
Yeah, I'm
maybe we don't
confused
need a
though.
motion. I needed a decision from you two.
I think we just needed to clarify.
Okay.
Is that right?
Barb, just clarification, so scratch my motion. Just
Okay. Thank you very much.
Make sure I'm not.
Right, because we've done the Potato Hill Road but 2 times, it's been, it's not even gotten to a vote based on engineer report. Once we did vote and it didn't pass. So I think we've gone over it 3 times since I've been here, so.
Well, now, I mean, if you're allowing ATVs.
Well, that's another process. It's not just automatic, because the county didn't adopt it as any speed limit at 35 or under in the county.
Oh,
You have to, then we have to adopt each road. So the speed limit's just one piece, then we'll do the adoption
okay.
of the ATV.
But I believe it only takes the application from Jeff Tincher, so we didn't get it throughout the year, maybe March. I think
Yeah,
we
there's
did it
a
one time,
deadline per year also on.
so we just push them all. We received them previously into that time frame.
Okay,
But you are in charge of that, so if you wanted to change the date, but that's what Jeff had wanted to do.
okay.
Mr. Tincher.
All right, I'll run these guys back and be right back.
Okay. So it doesn't look like.
It
it's
is an
gonna be
option that we
filed.
would be able to do a blanket 35 and under countywide.
For the UGAs.
No, for
Thank you,
any
Laura.
county
You're welcome,
road.
thank
Because
you.
when they originally adopted it, they did it by vote per street by request. Like you had to put in, I want from here to here.
Right, I did
So-
that twice, and I think, for me, I think it's. If
I'm
it's
trying
under
to
35,
blanket on 3,500 for me.
because when we did it in Cascade Valley,
It was a lot
everybody
of
was
roads.
all freaked out about it. And I'll tell you, I probably see, well, besides myself, maybe 2 other people that drive down to Cascade Valley on their side-by-sides. I see more kids on mini bikes
Yeah.
driving on the roads
In
than I
town.
do see side-by-sides. And they're louder than my side-by-side. So I don't see where it's.
I just want to make sure I'm reading this.
So,
So
to
it looks
me,
like the
We're
one
still
from
on
20
also,
to
just
25
so
miles an
everyone knows.
hour, at 10 o'clock, we had 5. Going 26 to 30, we had 8 vehicles, correct?
I'll show you which one I prefer. It's easier.
Okay, I'm like, that looks a little different than what
This one
I
right here.
want the easy one.
This is what I like, Cindy.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and it gives you medium risk is +10, high
Mhm.
risk, gives
Which
you
is
the
page 4.
times, how many
Okay.
cars, the totals.
Okay.
But-
It's this one. Got
Yeah,
it.
I will
It's right
flip
here.
to that page.
Okay,
It was just me, but
thank you.
it
This
wasn't,
is
we
a
had
little more,
nobody.
yeah, this one was, I haven't seen this layout or.
That looks like engineer stuff, so. I think there was 0 in the high risk.
Yeah.
We had
So that was
70
good.
that were compliant and 30.
So, anyway, I think he did the trailer at 2 different locations.
Well, you don't have any high risk, you have some medium risk
Mhm.
folks.
And this is all, this is on Dune Lake Road.
Yep.
Nice to have one for Potato Hill.
He's, the trailer, I can't remember where it went, maybe down to Sunland. I told, Rod, I said, there's no reason to have it sitting in the yard. So, get it out there working. I think it's interesting information, so if you have any requests, let me know. These were the 2 locations that he set them.
Is
You
that for,
only had 19 people that were super late for work or going to the movies or something,
Well, and
hospital.
I don't know, if it's not over 10, how much,
So just demand.
It'd be
they're
nice
gonna-
to see what they're doing
What's going on?
on Potato Hill Road.
okay.
You guys up to
We'll,
Especially if we make that
Same old, same
change to 30.
same thing?
maybe right after we get it chip sealed and brewed and stuff, maybe, we could probably do it before. We got about 2-3 weeks before we get back there.
oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. We'll be moving into District 3 chips, so probably next week, so we'll have 3 weeks there and we'll be back.
okay. We'll get that done before we get to it.
Sounds good.
Good to see you.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us today.
All right, thank you.
Good seeing you, Dave.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna roll right into the sheriff's office update with Under Sheriff Mansford.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Fabulous,
Fabulous.
fabulous.
Not that far.
Hey, we're not outside working. It was a little hot yesterday.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hotter today.
Joey couldn't make it. He's down in Warden. talking with the mayor down there, they lost their police chief, so they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do. So Joey's trying to figure out how we can best support them, until they get a new chief on board, so. He's asked me to come over here. There's a couple things that, just to kind of keep you guys up to speed on the jail medical, the RFP that Chief Coates have been working on. We did get three companies that are interested. We will be hosting them, I believe it's next Tuesday, over at the EOC to answer some questions. Then we'll be taking them through the jail and through the new jail to kind of give them more of an idea on what we're looking for and what would be in store for them. So that's exciting. We got three. I don't know that we were even expecting that many. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about, I don't know if you guys seen what or pay attention to the budgets each time that they come out. One thing that I wanted to note with you all, because I know the board had some questions of Joey at the end of April about where we're at on our overtime budget.
Yeah, well, it's brought to us, so we do see the overtime.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, being that somebody will probably bring it to your attention anyways. When the report came out at the end of May, it shows that we had gone from, I believe it was 46% of our budget used at the end of April for overtime, and now we're at 71% of our overtime budget. I thought that was kind of a little high, so I did some research of my own, comparing it to the previous years. I met with Mandy. We're still not exactly sure where the 144,000 in 1 month came from. It seems kind of high compared to the previous year. We were at 77,000, and all factors were the same, with the exception of we are providing law enforcement services in the city of Soap Lake. And I did the math for Soap Lake and found out that for the month of May, which this report was for, we had $20,007 in overtime for Soap Lake. So that doesn't account for the difference of the $70,000 difference between the 2 years. Joey and I sat down and calculated out the deputies' pay raise that had been negotiated in their contract. That didn't amount to that amount, the difference either. So in visiting with Mandy, she provided a printout of what all the overtime was, but that doesn't match GP. So it's still a mystery. I'm working on it, trying to get the numbers up, but I knew that in April, the board asked Joey for an explanation for that. Good news is that because we're working Soap Lake and because we're working some of these other things, our revenue is at we are at 858% on one of the line items. And so just kind of giving you guys advance notice of that. I would imagine that within the next couple of months, Joey and I will be coming for a budget extension, considering that we didn't anticipate the Soap Lake and some of the other. We also had a movie that Paramount Pictures was filming here in Grant County that we provided security for, which amounted to some of that overtime cost as well, but that's all reflected back in the revenue. So I just wanted to let you guys know in case anybody looked at our budget and saw where we were at with the
Well, and just to clarify, we get with our monthly budget, we get a sheet that says overtime for all the offices and departments. And so that's where, it wasn't like we got a little email of it. And we just wanted to see it so we get it. And it's part of our report. So.
Considering that you guys had a question on where we were at in April, and I saw a dramatic.
That's pretty high because you're almost out.
Yeah, I saw a dramatic difference in 1 month. I wanted to get ahead of this in front of it so that when you all have questions about it, I would be able to give you an answer. But even after visiting with Mandy, I don't have a clear and definitive answer because numbers, I think because in the month of May, there was 3 pay periods, and some of those had to do with stuff in April. Some of it had to do with times in May. It just doesn't give me a clear-cut picture of where that 144 went. And the numbers that get emailed to our administrative staff, or I shouldn't say administrative staff, but our administrative assistant who handles payroll. When she finishes payroll, she sends it up to accounting, and then they send her a printout of everybody's stuff back. The numbers that she got don't match what GP printed out for Mandy. So it's still a work in progress. Hopefully next week I'll be able to report a little bit better on where the $144,000 in overtime went. I just don't have an answer, but I don't want you guys to think that we're running from it either. I am aware of it. I'll figure out what's going on, and if it was an error somewhere, I'll find it. It's just going to take me and Mandy just a little bit longer, but we are working on it. So
Okay, thank you for looking into it.
yeah. Other than that, I really don't have a whole lot else for the board. We're ramping up for 4th of July this weekend. We anticipate that it's going to be busy with 4th of July being on a Friday. We have one of those rave music festivals out at the Gorge again this weekend, which is going to keep a lot of us busy out there. We're going to have deputies out on the waters all over Grant County as well, because it's supposed to be warm again this weekend. So we anticipate a lot of people coming to Grant County to use our lakes and our waterways and stuff. So we're just hoping for a pretty calm and chill weekend.
From sand dunes. Sand dunes will probably be busy.
Yeah,
It'll be busy for all.
We have deputies that are planning on being out there. I know that with the there's a development that is starting to, I think they're starting to break ground now out there.
Dune Lakes.
What's that?
Dune Lakes.
Yeah, that one I think it was an alfalfa or cornfield right there on the corner of Potato Hill and Goodrich, just to the south. That's starting up, and I don't know whether it has something to do with that or what, but there's been a lot of ORVs traveling from the city, going down Potato Hill Road, going out into the sand dunes. It's been more prevalent. I live almost a mile off of Potato Hill Road, and I can hear them winding up coming down the road. So I anticipate that this weekend we're going to have a lot of busy work out there between our traffic folks working Potato Hill Road and everybody out on the waters, our deputies out in the dunes. So looking forward to an exciting weekend.
Yeah, hopefully no fires.
What's that?
Hopefully no fires.
Right.
Let's try.
We may have to start arming our firefighters. We don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
If we thought firefighters though this is just outraged our entire nation that it's been, yes.
Yeah, I think for at least for a little while, people's concerns are going to be heightened, and so if available, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of fire personnel that are going to ask for law enforcement response when they respond somewhere, just to make them feel safe. Which it's probably for good reason at this point. So maybe if just our presence being there for nothing but traffic control or something prevents somebody else from doing something stupid like what happened in Coeur d'Alene. Oh well.
Yeah, very sad, very tragic.
I don't have anything else unless the board has any questions for me for the sheriff's office.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
The accident out on Road L, where the guy hit the telephone pole.
Okay.
You know anything about it?
I don't. What part of Rodell went? Oh, was it at Ellen Wheeler?
Yeah.
I heard of it, but it's a city crash, so I'm not.
Okay.
I don't know the details.
Okay.
Is there something in particular you'd like to know about it, so I
I'm
can
just
find out?
concerned as to where I'm assuming they were speeding.
it's hard to tell, and that intersection kind of comes and goes. It's very similar to Potato Hill and Goodrich baseline right there. Even though we put up those or Public Works put up the stop signs with the flashing red lights around it, we still tend to get a lot. We had somebody run it with a boat last week, and the boat came off the trailer, and it's like, it just doesn't make any sense what people are doing anymore. But I can find out for you on that collision.
If it's city, I'm good.
Yeah, that intersection's in the city of Moselsville. So. Yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, then
Thanks
I
for
will
joining
leave you
us.
be.
And thanks for looking into the overtime.
You bet. You bet. If you all have any specific questions about that, you can hit me up at any time. I'll be more than happy to tell you what we've done and what I've looked into to try to figure out where that money went.
Okay. I do have one more.
Yeah.
Camper motorhome out on Othello Place, Lakeview. Guys parked in the county right away with all this garbage around his motorhome.
Okay.
I've had numerous calls and complaints about it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I will send our code enforcement out there today.
Sounds like they've called and we're not getting anything done. So I don't know how we can fix that, but
I will look into it, and I'll make a phone call today to make sure we do something about it.
yeah, so I went by there the other day, there was nobody around. It looked like the door was padlocked.
Yeah, so in my experience, that's pretty typical of those folks who are living out of those things. When they leave, they don't have general locks on their doors like most folks do. So
They don't want their treasures stolen.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
Their house, they don't want their house to be.
And one good note, we've made a lot of great progress out there on the homeless encampment out there by Hiawatha Lake.
Oh yeah.
It's completely turned around. We're not getting a lot of, I don't want to say cooperation from the Colville Confederated Tribes. They are the landowner, the property owner. They came down with us when we trespassed everybody. But as far as having some teeth and coming in there and putting barricades up to keep everybody out and stuff, they're just, I think they...
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, it's out of sight, out of mind. We went out there last week again to help out Colville Confederated Tribes, and we started doing Hulk vehicle inspections on everything that was left out there after everybody beat feet out of there. And then Chief Sainsbury provided them to the tribe so that they can apply for a title from the state, and then they can just have it junked because it was left on their property. So hopefully we get a little bit more on that, but everybody's out of there. We do get rumor occasionally of folks that are going in there in the middle of the night, maybe to pick up some more of their stuff. They just don't want to get caught. Some of our deputies, we've arrested a couple more people out of there that were trespassing. So, but I will look into the Othello Place thing today and then find out why nothing has been done about it. And if there's a reason, I'll get back to you. If there is not a reason, I'll see if we can get somebody out there today to tag it, so that if it's on the right of way, we'll just tag it, and if it isn't moved, we'll have it towed. There's only a couple tow companies now that will do those, but also I know that one of your constituents out there on Stratford Road around Road 22, I think you went out to see him once.
You talked about Stratford, the town of Stratford.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they've been getting involved with the PUD as well. I think it was by accident. They contacted PUD commissioners and said, I think he was looking to contact maybe this board.
No, I've been working with them. In fact, I was out that way last Thursday after coming back from Grand Coulee and take the detour. And I drove by that driveway of his neighbors, and he parks his motorhome right in the county's road. That's a county road, and he parks all of his crap on the county road, and that particular gentleman can hardly get in and out of his house, and it becomes a problem, and then they're fighting amongst each other, and then they call the cops, and then he gets in trouble.
Yeah, because there's still a restraining order in place between them, I believe. But yeah, the PUD contacted us because they got contacted by those folks out there, and they couldn't find any reason why the PUD commissioners were getting contacted by them. All we could surmise was that their intention was to contact this board and accidentally called the PUD commissioners.
I think he wanted some power poles moved. There was something going off the power poles out there that he had questions on, and I don't know. I mean, it's a weird situation out there. It seems like the husband and wife and the other gentleman just don't get along. They don't like each other, so they just want to cause problems for each other.
Indeed.
He seems like he gets a little bit heated.
Sure.
And can't handle himself, and so then that creates more problems.
I see.
So he's in a tough situation.
Agreed. Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
for joining us. Have a great day.
You bet. You guys
May
too.
your weekend be uneventful and relaxed.
Thank you.
We're going to recess until 10 a.m.
You know that?
Good morning. It is 10 a.m. and we are here for our weekly human resources update.
Good morning. Is Commissioner Carter joining us?
Yeah, she just went upstairs for a quick minute.
Okay. Public, would you like to call for public comment?
Yes. We have no public in the room. However, we have 2 attendees online. Barb or Caitlin, do we have any public comment about our HR human resources agenda today?
Our 2 guests, it's Jay Heverlo and Ruben Valdez. I have given you guys the ability to unmute if you had any public comment about the human resources update.
Hearing none. We'll continue with the update.
Okay. Item 2, 3, and 4, I don't have anything for you today, which brings us to item 5, position management. First one is Public Works request for the assistant engineer reclassification. The board had questions. Do we need to go into executive session to discuss, or are you comfortable asking questions further?
Comfortable moving forward now. I think we answered.
I think I'm okay with that one.
I think our concerns have been answered or explained, or mine at least. Rob?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so Andy, you didn't need to come back for that.
Sorry, but if you weren't here, Andy, if you were not here, we would have questions.
You'd have questions.
I still got to leave the office. It's all
Oh,
good.
there you go. Just drive slow.
It's
so
nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Okay. So I will ask officially for your
Yes,
decision.
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Next one, Development Services Planning Manager. We heard that in PMR yesterday. That and the Fire Marshal. Are you prepared to make a decision on that, or do you need more information?
Okay, so, yeah, the fire marshal, I thought the fire districts were kind of investigating their own fires. They would have the ability instead of call. I think there's some frequent callers, so hopefully we've got it to the level where it should be.
Yes, it's not.
It's been moved back and forth multiple times.
The previous director put forth to the board, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe put forward that there were only 2 instances where the county's fire marshal had to report to the fire and do the investigation. And that was at $1 million in loss and if there was a death. That is not what the RCW says, which Dan presented to the board yesterday, which says that he or she will respond if called out by the other fire departments. I do think, Cindy, that some of the other fire departments are
have taken on more of that, but he still does get called now for things that aren't in those two criterias. And if a fire department, a voluntary fire department doesn't have the manpower or doesn't have the knowledge to determine cause of fire, then of course they're going to call him and he is required to respond. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, and thanks for, yeah, not sure why we had the change, but.
It didn't sound like there was a lot of those departments that had that knowledge or that certification.
No, they didn't, and it was.
That's why he goes out.
He gets called out a lot.
He goes, yeah. Yep. And I do anticipate, I won't speak for the department, but I will anticipate that in 2026 that there will be a request of an FTE for a deputy fire marshal. So to help build that team and do everything that that position needs to be doing to manage fire life and safety within the county, the educational piece as well. Okay. So any further questions about the fire marshal?
No, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Rob?
Good with that one.
Okay. How about planning manager? Questions, comments?
And is the planning manager, that's for the planning department, or is that for the building department?
That's for planning. So you would have kind of three parts of the house. You would have a manager over planning, a manager over building, and then the fire marshal piece of it,
Okay,
and the director running
all three.
all three.
Okay.
That
I know we
correct?
talked about this earlier during the budget.
Yep.
That's some changes. I'm good with that.
And they have that in their budget, right?
Yes,
Cover that.
it is in the budget.
Good.
So I have 3 yeses.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now the hard one.
The hard one, renew executive director comp. So yesterday in PMR, we discussed it. Dan also has brought some more data. Gina has ran some data. And before we get into that, I guess my question for the board is the comps that Dell shared with HR to bring to you, do you want to use that data, or do you want to wait for the comp study to see
Well,
what
what
data
I
they
did, and
present?
some of them are very small. I just did it is somewhere here. I did a quick ad on the 5, and they were much smaller than Grant County. And just, it was like 1 million and dividing them by the 5. So that salary, if you do the average, was $200,000. So I would say at least move it up a little bit until don't think we're gonna lose Dell, but I would really hate to, because after we're talking about what we're paying Dell and we're paying the others, and everybody's aware.
Yeah.
And we're not the only ones doing behavioral health now. It has to be in the medical facilities, it has to, the schools are doing, I mean, it's just spread out more. So we have one of the largest clinics, behavioral health clinics in Grant County.
Yeah, and the comps that he did share
I mean, I thought he was,
with us, yeah, he did a good job.
he did not, felt like he was very honest in his.
Yeah. And I don't have
Right.
concerns about the comps that he used. I just, and I don't get the impression from Dell, and I could be wrong, that he's interested in leaving his position with the county. However, and with the comp study underway, is that something that the board wants to take into consideration and wait and to see what they place in that position? We also have the county executive position that we've put at that band 26 as well. per the comps. Just so you're aware of, that would going higher would cause a compression issue, the opposite direction, but
Well, I think there's a educational component too, because I'm not trying to say one job is more important, but you know, our attorneys, our judges are compensated at a higher band. I am okay jumping to 200,000, because literally when you take this, divide it up, and then at least wait for the comp study to come out, but I think it would be something.
Dan, do you want to talk through
Walk me through this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Gina came up with.
Oh, this is yours? Oh, this is yours.
Gina's right here. Gina's the shirt.
No, that's the one I did
That's
this
Dan's.
morning.
Okay.
So because I'm not as familiar with the formulation of the compensation table, so I kind of backward engineered it to figure out for consistency, looking at each band and looking at each step, what does that percentage increase look like? What I'm not completely 100% on is where's that step one at? It looks like the delta between a 19 and a 20 is about 5%. If you use that as your starting point, that means a step one is at 79.63. So it's going to top out at 93.70 using those same percentages. So at 200, if you go all the way to the brim, we're going to be under 200,000 if that's where we want to go.
That's just kind of my looking at the.
So we'd have to do probably like another band on top of that. So at 93.70, that works out to about 8% on top of where he's currently at, which is just under 195.
He's at one, oh.
He's at 184.08, yeah.
Okay, oh, yeah, right.
And then Gina has her spreadsheet that she's going to share on the monitor.
Yep.
That's pretty. Probably push the button again.
Yeah, it says it's pending.
Pending? Maybe if you shake the cord. I find if you shake things. Pull it up. That's interesting. It is not showing it. Well,
Are you sharing where?
on screen. Yeah, she's only got one thing up and it's just not bringing up the spreadsheet. What's showing on her computer is not showing up there. We'll bring it back next week, if you're okay with that. Or if we can get it going while we move on to the next topics. Okay, so item number 6, compensation study. The meeting is with electeds today. And did I hear, I just want clarification, are all 3 of you planning to attend that today?
I will be there.
Cindy, you'll be there?
Where is it at?
I thought it's the EOC. But
I don't have an invite, so I don't know where it's at, but
What time is it?
the compensation's at noon, compensation study. So whoever is there, will one of you report back to me? So tomorrow when we meet with Compensation Connections, we can share whatever insight we need to share with them. That would be fantastic. Recruitment. Dan, did you sent the new candidates to the board?
Yep.
Probably yesterday. I don't know if the board has had the opportunity to look at those new ones.
yeah.
I don't know if you are prepared to talk about them today, or if you would like to hold and review them thoroughly for next week's meeting, and I can bring them back. I know it was a short turnaround, so. See Kevin nodding, let's bring it back next week.
Yeah, I think I'm just getting them.
I reviewed them. I'm not sold on any.
I think we need to figure out which ones are the top contenders. And we need to make a decision,
Yes,
figure it out.
When does it close?
it's open until filled.
Filled, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I see some.
And Rob, you've asked that policy be printed out for you. Do you want resumes printed out as well? And the ones Dan sent you were from this round, were the top three of that round.
Oh,
So
we even had more?
So out of
Oh, I mean, we
Yeah,
had
yeah, I sent you one batch
1, 2,
before.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, and then we had 3.
yeah,
Okay,
so
and some of them in that 9. Let's see, I would say probably a bit of a far reach for some of those that.
A really,
Yeah.
really far
Far.
stretch.
Okay.
so we can at least narrow
But it's
that
really nicely.
that field down. It would be helpful if each one of you chose your, like, out of that grouping, the two groupings, maybe your top
looking at the
2 or 3
resume
to
to go,
that you would want to consider. And then we'll just keep collecting.
I think the process of elimination would be a lot easier to go through.
And then we can discuss that, and of course we would do that in executive session if we need to next week. County engineer, we don't have any new applications for that one. We've still only received the 2 and neither one of them meet the minimum requirements. I know there's been discussion with, Chris has had discussion with Andy and getting that more of the headhunter mentality in order to hopefully get qualified candidates. It is about $2,500, give or take a little
I think
bit.
we need to do it.
So he may come to you. I guess he
Obviously, what
didn't
we're
need
doing
to,
is not
but
working.
yeah, we're not getting candidates.
Mhm.
So is the board okay with him doing so?
Yes.
Thank you. I heard a yes from all 3 of you. Okay, nothing on item 8, which is benefits. 9, last week I brought forward background check topic, and the board approved doing background topics on all new hires. New hires would be hired conditionally pending background. I would like to memorialize that in this memorandum, just so I have it.
Nice.
Initials. And then I have attached for your reading pleasure, because I know you guys are loving all the policies I'm sending you.
I
But
don't know.
the brief snippet at the bottom of this having to do with 103.11 is the backup.
The
ground language.
climate impact report has really got me fired up, so I'm.
So that is the proposed language for the background checks, which is then attached to that memo that I'm asking for your, to initial.
Are you going to put a length of time on there?
Can you clarify your question? A length of time for
You know,
what?
are you going to do like 3-year, 5-year, 7-year?
5-year history.
So the person applying would be like, well, nope, no point, or yeah. Or a director can't just, oh, I don't like that applicant because of the background.
Yes.
I don't know, if something happened 6 years ago and something triggers it a 5-year, and then you wanna look at that, what are we cleaning up in year 5 that happened year 7? I don't know if you wanna,
Do you have any insight?
Yeah, legally,
On
where's
that?
that gonna put
Because
us?
we were talking about that.
I would say just leave it open so they can, if they need to go back.
Well, I think, industry standard is 7
7.
years, to go back 7 years. To go back 7 years, anything before that, again, we talked about that review of background checks, impartial review, and that's where we would look at that.
Yeah.
Let's say.
HR will look at that.
Yeah, let's say Cindy had a theft charge in 2023. It's recent, she applied for the treasurer's office, dealing with money, probably not gonna be a good fit. As opposed to a theft charge in 1999, and you're applying for a position in maintenance. I mean, you know,
Yeah, well-
that's kind of the range of what we look at. So in the policy, you'll see a list of things that will be evaluated. Rob, I think we could add potentially 7 years, but I also would like for us to have discretion. And tying us to a number might get a little bit into the weeds. So I hear what you're saying, and which we certainly could do. But I think we left out a number kind of on purpose. Unless the board's direction is to
No,
pick a
I
number.
would, I think if something
pick a year.
triggers a further, or a deeper dive, I'm gonna have that option, that opportunity,
Let's say,
or whoever is
I
here.
think that's a deeper dive. Okay, you were convicted of murder, right? So you get a background check, it's been 7 years. It doesn't mean you still wouldn't consider the situation and bringing them into a work environment. But I'm just saying that I got a DUI maybe 3 years ago, there's no point for me to apply. Or, you know what I mean? Or you're concerned about it. I like this. I mean, but at the same time, anytime you've ever applied at a job, there's usually at a certain point, you should feel comfortable applying for a job. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's just my point. We live in Grant County. We don't live in, the deepest hiring pool to begin with.
sure.
I mean, if we're going to implement let's do a deep dive, then let's run them on everybody that's here. And,
Well, best practice is to do it on current employees every so many years.
yeah, just to know what's come
Yeah,
up in
every-
between.
Well, I
3
would want,
years.
but what I'm saying, if there's something that triggers it, that looks like they're getting something cleaned up, what are we looking into, and maybe it's just something minor, maybe they were just a third party, but
Well, each department head or elected official has the option to question their background check or.
But if it's in our policy that they can't go beyond our policy, we can't break policy, like, why didn't you hire me? Well, I see your year,
Rather than 7 years, on year 8, you
and
had
2 months
this.
ago,
Yeah.
you had a rather large fraud case brought against you. I don't know, I just. think it's fine
I
with
see
that
both
ending.
points,
Yeah,
I
can
do.
see,
I see Cindy's point, I see Rob's point, and
but I think the reasonable person, you just would look at it and go, okay, well, that was 8 years ago, they haven't had anything, we're probably
Yeah.
And we also have to take into account state law, which was recently passed, the Washington Fairness Act, something like that.
Yep.
That details those things. You have to consider these things when looking at criminal charges.
Well,
And
that's my
so-
thought. There's gotta be some law out there
there
that
is.
binds us or allows us to
Yes.
do certain things. I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
there's a law for everything, so I know there's one out there.
Yeah.
As long as we're abiding by the law, I don't see where it matters.
yeah. And it does say in there, we would follow federal and state law.
Yeah.
So if the state law says 7 years, that's what we would do. If the state law says 10 years, that's what we would do.
I don't have a problem with that.
Commissioner Jones,
What's up?
do you have anything more you'd like to add?
No. I just could see some selective hiring created in that situation with our electeds and.
Well, and I think that is also why HR is in charge of that.
I'm an elected official. I can hire and fire who I would like. How often do we hear that one? You know what I mean? So that's
This
why.
week, there was a lawsuit, there was actually a lawsuit, the Osborne lawsuit versus Grant
And
County.
it continues though.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about me. I can't hire for anybody, but I can't even close the door by myself. I'm saying the other electeds, we hear, I mean, if I had I think there'd be a lot of changes here if it was my decision,
Yeah.
right? But it's not.
And so if an elected official does
I
tell
just-
HR,
I just say that in the idea of implementing things that, create issues.
Well, we're gonna get the background report, we're going to
I
do
like
the
it.
evaluation, we're then gonna tell the department head or elected our recommendation based on
I'll just be real clear on
what
the
we
recommendation.
reviewed, and if what we determine is a risk for the county, we're gonna document that. If they choose to move forward with that and take that risk, it will be their risk. I mean, ultimately, yes, it does come back on the county as a whole if that risk is,
So can we make
happens.
it if we get sued by an employee that leaves, that the department head, it comes out of their budget, not the county's? I mean,
Board.
it
the board can absolutely put that,
comes out of our.
I like that.
In place.
I like this guy.
I mean, ultimately, they're responsible for that hire.
Right.
Not us.
Yeah.
And you recommended that they don't do it, and they did it anyway.
and they did it anyways. There are consequences, right?
Yeah.
Natural consequences to everything.
so what does the board foresee if an elected official tells HR, I get to hire and fire who I want, and I'm gonna do it anyway? What would the board like would the board like an update about that? Would the board want
think
the
it should be
elected
allowed.
to?
Well, and if it's, I guess I want to see the reason why.
Yeah.
There have been appointments from elected officials that the board highly discouraged it, but allowed it, and now we're in a lawsuit right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to Kevin's point, I think that the board could put something in place that makes their budget, them responsible for the consequences, whether that's legal fees that go along with a poor hire, making that choice. Which,
Might make them think twice about it. I mean, I don't know. I'm the new guy, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Those
obviously this has happened more than
conversations-
once, because
yeah.
And those conversations are really difficult with elected officials. And they don't want to listen, and they're not looking beyond what's in front of them. And a lot of the times the pushback I get is exactly what Rob said. I'm an elected official and I get to do what I want. And my response to that is 100%. You're autonomous, but so am I. If I wanted to go and run a stop sign, I can absolutely do that. And when somebody pulls me over and says, you can't do that, I'm going to tell them, I can do whatever I want. You can't make me do that, right? And so the logic is a little bit flawed, but when it's their department, they just can't look past what's in front of them. And we're asking them to look down the line. Is this decision that you're making going to pose a risk? Is this going to affect the department in a negative way? And those conversations are difficult because a lot of times people can't look beyond that. And so a lot of times it's just a wall that goes up, and it's a difficult conversation, and we're doing our job in HR to help people understand the ramifications of what they're doing. And if somebody wants to run a stop sign, go for it. I don't care.
There will be consequences.
But there are consequences.
And right now, there are no consequences.
well, there needs to be.
So
That's my opinion.
don't disagree.
And people will likely change their behavior. Once they see that it affects them, then they're likely not to do that again.
And one proposal that I will be bringing forward in the near future to the board is the labor costs for our labor attorney. That will be, I'm going to ask that the board allow those costs to be sent to the departments and offices to be responsible for, rather than it coming out of HR's budget.
Yeah, it's supposed to be sent. Are we not billing? They're not paying for their,
Not for the labor attorney, it all comes through HR. And, I mean, non-current expense pays a portion to HR. That is for our services, but labor has always just come out of our budget.
Shared between
okay,
all.
well, and it should be, if it's just, I think the regular negotiations but anything that, like if we had something in our office that
Yes,
we would be billed, it should be sent to our office to cover, because we
Yes.
tried to share that love with the others so that they knew exactly how much it was costing.
yes, and we are, I will be presenting a spreadsheet to show you each month how much labor, the attorney fees are for labor management for each department. So you know where that money's going and being spent at, so.
We previously had some heavy users that would just pick up the phone and call an attorney instead of going through HR. So,
Yes. They all come through HR, but
Okay, but
HR
you're still-
also pays
No, I think
pays
that's
the
a good
tab.
point.
Again, there's no consequences to be better
Mhm.
because it doesn't come out of their budget.
No incentive.
Correct. Okay. Second topic in item 9, policies. I sent the 200 policies for you to review. Were you able to get through the 100 policies?
I didn't see anything on them. Those ones that I had an issue with,
And
but I haven't printed the 200 policy yet.
that's fine. We're just wanted to state that they were sent, but the 100 policies, I do have a copy of each of the policies in the 100 series. If you have reviewed them and agree with the drafts, the presented drafts, I can pass the policies to you, and I ask that you initial whether you approve or deny, just so I have that on record. If you are prepared to do that for all of 100s.
I'm okay on the 100 policy.
Yeah, I don't have the 200.
I
I
haven't
haven't
looked
read
over
the
the
200.
200 yet.
Chairperson, are you?
Are you okay?
I'm good with 100. I haven't looked at 200 at all.
Okay, so all of 100s are there, and if you can initial each cover page on that draft. And then the next step in the process is those will be sent to the unions. We will notify the unions that these are the changes
They're gonna be like, no.
to the policy, and then they
There was
can
one in the 100 that just
request.
had a word check on the bottom of one of the.
Will request to bargain impact. They have that option. Well, actually, it's a mandatory subject to bargain, so we will be sending them appointment times to meet with them to discuss the policies. But it's really, they look more different than they used to, so. That is what I have for you today. We are moving into, Gina and I are moving into policy 400s this week, so we're getting through them.
No, I think there's one of the, I'm just trying to look.
Oh,
Okay.
because it'll be a capital S, yep. And again,
There's one, yeah.
these are the drafts, so just so we can forward them to the
I can't
union.
remember, but it just, it's on the front, one of the front pages and the bottom.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that and going over those. Does this process seem to be working for you okay at this point?
Yeah, thanks for not throwing them all at us at the same time.
Every couple of weeks, you'll get a new batch. Any questions or any topics that the board has?
Yes, we need to appoint a new prosecuting attorney. The Republican Party is meeting July 12th. So we'll get a list hopefully the 14th, and then we can quickly start. Kevin will be done. Is he working until the 3rd August?
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
Okay.
He said he was working the weekend.
Okay, if he's not, if we don't get somebody appointed in office, we will have to appoint somebody to fill that vacancy for a little bit.
The Republican Party's interviewing people when? Sorry?
The 12th, Saturday the 12th. They only have 3.
Okay.
But they want to rank them for us, so they're not releasing anything until they rank them.
Okay.
I did let them know that even though they rank them, we will have our own team. I think I would like to just kind of talk, we have a couple of minutes of the team that we would like to put together for the interview so we can start.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be fast and furious.
Who's gonna do that? Do we count to wherever we're gonna have?
Well, like our office, or we could go with HR, work with HR, so I think it
I
would
think
be
HR sets it up, but
all 3 commissioners, somebody from HR.
Okay.
We could go, I think this is our team. Do somebody from the Republican Party, since they're coming from that division. Somebody from District Court, somebody from Superior Court. I think we would want somebody from the prosecutor's office and somebody from public defense. And we've had somebody from the Grant County law.
So just about everybody?
Well,
What is
and
it?
it is
I'm gonna
hard
ask you to
because
repeat all of that.
when you're, and I guess this is, when you're replacing an elected official, you really do need a broad
Sure.
view of, I mean, it's
A large
it's
committee,
hard.
large committee, yeah.
Because when Kevin was appointed, he was the only one, so it was pretty easy, but we have had, and I don't think we may not need a Superior Court and a District Court judge, but maybe I would think this somebody in the judicial.
Can I repeat my list to you? You can tell me if I forgot anybody. Commissioners, all 3? Yes? Somebody from HR. Superior Court, like a judge. Okay. District Court judge.
Okay, well, and I'm asking for input from
Okay.
Rob. I mean, do you think we need a Superior and a District Court? Or just one? Because those are both elected
At least
positions.
Superior Court.
Okay.
yeah, I would be fine with it just, the more you get, the harder the scheduling is.
Yeah.
And our scheduling, I think, is set for Barb, what are the tentative dates? We have 2.
I believe it's the 14th and the 21st.
Those are the 2 tentative dates we have.
We have times on those?
Barb, did you put any times in?
I did. On the 14th, it's 3 to 5. And on the 21st, I put 2 to 5.
What's the 21st for?
For 3, we should be able to get them all.
That was if it didn't work on
It didn't work on
the
the
14th.
Yeah. So there's 2 dates.
Hopefully we can do the 14th because this person will have to give at least, find the attorneys need a little bit longer than 2 weeks to close out whatever is going on in their world. They can't have a private practice.
Okay, I think I missed some people. Republican Party representative. You said somebody from,
Grant County has like a law, like all the attorneys are a part of the Grant County law.
like, a bar association or something?
Grant County, I don't know what they call it,
Okay.
but we've had them in the past. I don't know if we necessarily need somebody from the Republican Party. It's, well, do we want somebody from public defense?
I would say, I mean,
Or
my
do we want
opinion
somebody
is
like our
send them
sheriff?
an invitation. If they can make it, great. If they can't, that's okay too. Scheduling wise, it might be difficult, but we don't want to.
We'll have 4 people
With
here.
this, yeah, with this, I mean, we are on the 1st and this is 14 days out, so it's gonna be hard to get.
Right, and we don't want to stop the process because somebody doesn't show up.
Right.
Okay,
So
so
we
what
want
I
to
heard,
include our sheriff on there?
Might be a good idea.
can I ask a question? Who makes the final determination?
We do.
I think the commissioners, but usually we will go into executive session, we can have a discussion. Sometimes it's unanimous, sometimes it's split, but the final decision will come from the board.
Okay.
But I appreciate the input from the team because it's just not an employee, it's also an elected official that we'll be representing my district, Kevin's district, Rob's district.
Well, not only that, we're not in that profession. I mean, I think it's important that we have the people that are in that profession give us advice or give us their opinion.
The reason I ask is, we would just want to make clear that you guys are making the decision, because once you start inviting other people, people feel like it's their decision, and it's not. So when we extend the invite, we just need to say, seeking your input, wanting you to participate in this process. Ultimately, the VOCC will make the final determination. Because that's happened to us in the past with, when we bring in a bunch of like elected officials, they suddenly say, well, that wasn't our pick. Well, it's not your decision to make.
Right, it's kind of like you get to pick your employee. We
Right.
don't get a decision on that, so.
Right, your
The
input's
tables are turned
needed.
here.
Tables are turned.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's sometimes as other things have come to light that you would not share in a larger group setting, you know, when you're vetting some. I think if you haven't had insider information and as they're discussing this great candidate and you know there's something in the background that is just a little damaging, that I think you would not share it with that initial group. Sometimes we've been there where we're
Yeah.
like, well,
Transparency is important.
So is HR setting up the interviews?
That's what I heard.
there's only 3.
Only 3, and I count 11 possible
I
participants.
don't think we will have 11,
Yeah.
but I think it is, we'll just set the time. It would be,
Interview questions in place.
yeah, and we should have some. We've done the prosecutor for Angus, for Kevin. I don't even know if we asked Kevin. There may be some questions.
Go through the files and see what I can find.
And so what I also heard was that HR was gonna extend the invite to all of these groups, and if they can make it, great. If they can't, then it'll just be whoever can show up. Is that right?
I think, well, yes, as long as there's more than 3 or 4 people, yeah,
Okay.
we will. Right? I don't know. I think if we just kept kicking the can down the road, and we're waiting for the entire group.
Yeah.
It could be a bit.
It's gonna be
If they want to do this, they will make it a priority. They will be.
fair enough. And
But my
we will-
question was, did we want somebody from the Republican?
I don't think it's necessary. but-
And the Republican Party's already gonna rank them, so
We'll get there. Okay.
they're,
I just wanted to
they're
clarify
giving their
that, so-
input, yeah.
I deleted it. Can I read my list one more time? I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Okay.
Commissioners, HR representative, Superior Court judge, District Court judge, somebody from the Grant County Bar Association, we're gonna research that, and public defense representative.
And do we need the sheriff?
What about the,
Should we have somebody
PA's
from the
office?
prosecutor's office?
it would create buy-in with the group.
They can make it,
Okay,
I
the
have them
one-
on my list.
the one before that was who?
Sheriff.
Sheriff. What about the clerk? The county clerk.
Yes, her office is impacted as well.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Him's easy.
Anyone else? You can think of? What's that?
Hey.
So we probably will need to reserve the room down. I mean, I fit that many people in here. I have a feeling there's gonna be several that will not be able to
Yeah.
make it.
We'll let you know and then we'll find a room that fits accordingly.
And I believe the interview is open to the public, so we will need to.
The what? The EOC room? Yeah, okay. Well, we will get notices sent out and for those dates.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay,
Hearing none,
thank you.
move on to recess until 11:30 when
Thank you.
we're back with a special meeting with Health District. Good morning, it's 11:31 a.m. and we are here for a special meeting with the Health District for septic system enforcement. We have Teresa, Stephanie, and Amber online. In the room with us, we have Kevin McCray, Blair Cope, Daryl Pheasant, and Rebecca Kaler. You hear us, Teresa?
Did somebody online say something?
Teresa and Steph.
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if Teresa can hear you. Teresa cannot.
I can.
Was that?
So he's gonna take over.
Oh, take over the meeting or?
Yeah, I assumed Teresa was
Oh,
going
okay.
to begin the meeting.
She's having trouble, so.
Well, I guess it's 11:32. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Teresa, I don't know if you can hear us. You can hear us. We were just we have Daryl here. He has gone through the abatement process. I think Kevin and Rebecca as well. So if you want to, I guess, kind of update us on what's going on.
I just want to cut in real quick. I'm so sorry. Just a friendly reminder, please do not use the chat. It's a public records door that we do not want to open.
I don't think we can hear Teresa yet.
Teresa, we still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
My headset died on me. Good morning. Yeah, I know we have a limited amount of time, and what I would like to do is start by having Stephanie provide an update on where we are with the property at this moment. We invited Amber to join us because she went on site yesterday with our on-site inspector. In case there's specifics about that event, we just invited her to come along, and she's helping us out through this process. So Stephanie, if you could provide a brief update of what's happened in the last 24 hours and where we're at.
Yeah, so yesterday we served a health officer order of emergency abatement to the residents of the property. We've been unable to contact the owner of the property. We don't have a phone. We have a partial address, but the address that we have, that at least we've sent one letter to that someone has signed for, we are sending that by certified mail today. So in that letter, it allowed us to fence off the area of surfacing sewage, which is their failed field in their front yard, post signs to it. Also contacted a local pumping company who will be going in this afternoon and pumping the tank, and then pumping as often as necessary to prevent surfacing sewage at GCHD's expense, and reminded them that they must have the new system installed by the end of the week, July 4th. So the next steps for us, it does not sound like it will get installed. There is approved septic design and a start permit that has been issued. The same person that has that start permit is the company that's pumping today. They're well aware of the situation. He would not be, even if they came up with money, they would not be able to get to it this week. Our next action will likely be a notice to vacate the property under the health officer's authority. That would get delivered on Saturday.
Which, are you talking about 212 or are you talking about the other property?
204 Fairway. Sorry, I should have started with that. The 212 Thunderbird, that system was installed.
Oh, yeah, because the property taxes on the 204 are being paid by a mortgage company, so.
Yes, and Amber can speak to that. It sounds like the owner is not paying on that mortgage. It's the residents. They're just not, it's a different situation.
Okay, so we may have if the residents are paying, either they're buying it on contract or just paying the mortgage company so the mortgage company doesn't foreclose. Because I didn't know if you needed more information regarding Darren Jones, because I have an email address also for Darren Jones on the other property.
Okay, yes, the 212 property that has been remedied. That new system was installed. So it's just the 204 Fairway in Desert Air that we're talking about today.
Okay.
As far as the owner of record for 204, we have an address. The letter was signed for. The family does not have or willing to provide us with a phone number. They're claiming they don't know how to get a hold of the owner. So we just continue, per our policy, is to send a certified letter to the residents to the owner, and then the occupants of the home. Like Stephanie says, we have an approved septic design that we had worked through the process with the individual before he died. And now the family's trying to come up with the money for the install. Staff are going on site weekly, if not more than once a week, talking with the family about their next steps. And also I want to give Catherine an opportunity, because Catherine and Dr. Brezhny met over the weekend to discuss the health officer's authority, because that's where we've gone beyond just GCHD policy and statute now, because of the public health threat, have issued the public health officer order that was that's the one that was hand delivered yesterday. So Catherine, did you want to weigh in on the next steps and kind of from the district's perspective legally?
Well, I think one of the things I wanted to bring up with the county is whether or not the county is willing to participate in the enforcement action, because obviously you've got your own nuisance abatement ordinances where you could, or even a dangerous building ordinance if it fits that, where the county could participate in the enforcement activity. So I guess that was my first question.
And in talking about the long-term treasurer, we've never heard of an abatement lien created with the foreclosure element that was for a sewer system, because it wasn't the structure itself and it wasn't destroyed. That's a unique concept, and so we would need to have guidance to see if the abatement lien, because there's many types of abatement liens, and a lot of them don't have a foreclosure element. But to see if the elements of the foreclosure ones can be done to have a bill sit out there and eventually possibly create a foreclosure action three years from now.
Well, I'm not talking, what about just your plain nuisance code where you can file a notice an order and go to court and get a warrant of abatement and recover your costs through a Superior Court judgment?
Because
I would have to do some research, but my first initial reaction would be that would be, because it's dealing with sewer, that is in the health district jurisdiction. But I don't know, Kevin, if you have a different.
I don't know. I mean, we're getting the details now for the first time, so it's kind of hard to give a solid answer without going back, looking at the codes, looking at the definitions of nuisance. I can see how it would fall in that definition.
But then you have a more specific.
Yeah, so I'm not prepared to answer that right this minute.
Well, and I can only speak from my experience representing the health district as well as cities, and cities have similar abatement nuisance ordinances to the counties. And so it's really a matter of partnership, and that's what I'm asking. I mean, clearly we each have jurisdiction to proceed. The health district has already expended a great deal of money and staff time and getting the septic tank company out there to start pumping. And so, and we've suffered some significant budget cuts this year. We're going to actually be laying off people. So it would be nice if the county could assist with helping with the rest of the enforcement process.
How much are we talking about?
Depends on how far it goes.
Yeah, I mean, if we have to go in there and physically clean it up, it's starting to get pretty spendy.
Well, I think what you're really talking about first is the cost of getting an injunction. And I think that would be the priority. And you wouldn't have to expend any more than staff time in filing the action to support the health officer's notice to vacate. Because clearly the goal is to not have the property occupied until the septic issue is fixed. And they could come in and say, fine, we'll compromise, we'll agree to pay as the private property owner for the weekly pumping until we get the septic tank installed or fixed. That would be.
The health officer hasn't issued his order yet. That's supposed to come on Saturday, is what I understood.
Correct.
So we don't know if these people aren't just going to follow the health officer's order and leave, right? Or do we know if they're not going to do that, or what?
Based on our contacts with staff and the family, I would be surprised if they voluntarily complied to vacate. And so I think we're talking about what's the next step. I mean, you guys are getting calls because the neighbors are upset, and the health district is trying to do what it can within its resources to help resolve the issue. But if they don't comply with the health officer order, then what's next?
So our staff, I mean, it sounds like you are expecting Grant County Prosecutor's Office to take and file the injunction. The problem being is we're severely understaffed at the moment because we're basically functioning on 1.5 attorneys at the moment because of medical issues. So we're not in a position really to take on extra projects. I mean, unless Kevin has a different perspective on that.
No, we're short. I mean, this has to get done, but everybody's short. We would need reports and all that kind of factual stuff. Do you have reports from all your people that have been out there, written reports, affidavits, that kind of stuff yet?
We have activity logs that we keep. So when our inspectors are on site, they're just filling out a brief description that they were on site and what they discussed. Okay. Or if they delivered letters, those kinds of things.
Well, and we already have, Kevin, all of the letters from staff and the health officer to the property owner and the residents. So I don't think documenting what has transpired thus far is the issue. We realize that everybody is busy and short-staffed, but it is equally, in my mind, the health district and the county's obligation for enforcement, and the health district has and will continue to do what it can. So we're just asking the county to be a partner in providing some assistance for the next step if it comes to that.
But can we, since we do contract with the health district, or?
There's asking a lot, yeah, this is a lot of questions coming at us fast, so we haven't had time to look.
But it would seem like, Teresa, you have an abatement fund that you already have, 25 cents, we get 75 cents.
No, I need to clarify on that. It's actually written in your resolutions that that is specific to solid waste activities. We asked the county for flexibility with that fund, and when the commissioners at the time had adopted it, they wanted it specific to our solid waste activities, not on-site, not food. We could forward that over just for your situational awareness. This would be coming out of our reserve accounts. And this is a unique situation. For the situational awareness of the room, this does not happen. We deal with failed septic systems on a routine basis, but we work with the families. We give them a timeline. We tell them about utilizing porta potties, reducing the amount of outflow, getting it routinely pumped. Generally speaking, people are able to cooperate with us. Septic system installs are very expensive, and a lot of times they have to work to get those resources, and we work with folks. This is a very unique situation where, and very similar to the other one, where it took more time than most people would like to be able to get to now even with this, now we got to get on the schedule. But how do we go about, this unique situation and all the circumstances, which I'm sure a lot of you in the room know, it's just created a lot more work for everybody involved. We do not have a dedicated fund for these types of activities. We get our flexible dollars, which this would be quickly utilized. Our on-site septic program is always overspent. We do a lot of non-contract work because we're a good community partner and we meet our community members where they're at. And this is one of those examples of non-contract work.
So Teresa, could you send us that letter? Because I do not recall stating that it only had to be for solid waste. Just send that to us because that's what we use for abatement. And yeah, I totally understand. I think commissioners understand that countywide, everybody is supposed to clean up their property, take care of it. There's a few bad characters out there that we have to go do it for them, and that's where we have the ability to abatement. We've set it up, and so, but I think it would be easier instead of going through the county if the health district set up an abatement process.
Well, and Cindy, I guess that's where I would disagree, because the county's set up to go to court and just get a warrant or an order of injunctive relief that would prohibit, if the health officer's order is not complied with, that would prohibit occupancy of the property until they corrected the issue. So we're not asking the county to foot the bill for fixing the septic problem. We're just asking the county to support the health officer's order and the health district's efforts by being willing to go to court and ask for that injunctive relief that says, hey, you can't occupy the property without having this fixed. And if you do, you're subject to criminal trespass.
Okay, I thought there was a little more to it, so.
No. I mean, there's neither agency should be fixing the septic issue. We're trying to address the emergent public health issue with the surfacing sewage and stopping the progression of that, because the current owners have refused to vacate and limit the production of on-site waste. So that will continue to be a problem until we can get a court order between everybody and the occupants and property owner.
I'm hearing two different things. From Teresa, I'm hearing a request for abatement. And from Catherine, I'm hearing just a request for filing for an injunction based upon the health officer's order.
Correct. And that's what we're asking for.
Yeah, I was just explaining because Cindy had asked me specifically about an abatement process and fund. And like I said, we rarely ever are in this situation. And we're putting the staff time and resources, but for us to now go pay for court costs and that's where Catherine's saying, you have those resources. I know we're a district and not a county office, But this happens across the state where a lot of times our policies are written in state statute where we just don't get to the finish line. We just ask people to comply. We give them the health officer order, but then we need to work with our county partners to have that enforcement piece behind it. So unfortunately, the days are gone for a lot of people where the health district asks them not to operate or asks them to fix something, and they just refuse to do so. So this is a unique situation where we're asking for our county partners to help us. But just from the fiscal standpoint, this program is already underwater. That was all I was trying to give the lay of the land for as far as resources.
So it seems like from our point of view, we have a lot to that we're going to have to take a look at before we can really answer. So we're kind of coming in, like Kevin said, we're kind of coming into this blind. Sure. So we would have to take a look at.
Can you guys send us over all your documentation? So your notes, the letters, yep. All that kind of stuff?
Yes. I can gather that up for you and send it over.
So the results would be more likely that some court action would create a lien on the property.
Well,
if we get down to that point.
So right now, as I understand it, all we're doing is, so the injunction is a step before, so we, in a normal abatement, we get an injunction, say, go clean it up.
Yeah.
That doesn't create a lien on the property. If they go clean it up, we're all good to go. If they don't, then we get a warrant of abatement to go clean it up ourselves, and that's what puts the lien on the property.
Right.
Right now, we're just talking about the injunction step. We're not talking about the warrant of abatement step.
We're not even saying go clean up the property. We're just saying follow the order.
Follow the health officer order. Correct.
Right.
That's all you're asking for right now.
Yeah. And what we will be doing over the coming days is writing that health officer order with our attorney and health officer, so we have it all laid out. And we'll certainly share that draft with you too, but that's what would be hand delivered on Saturday to the occupants.
And Rebecca, what I would like to be able to add to that is, a statement that the health district has talked with the county, and the sheriff is prepared under your UDC, under your nuisance code, to declare it an emergency, and that the county will be taking steps to get the injunctive relief.
Well, we try to do this meeting before we can.
Probably have some research.
That's kind of an additional piece in my mind. That's a completely different ask.
How so?
From what I'm understanding is that what you're initially asking is just for an injunction that would basically allow law enforcement agents to trespass any individuals who would go onto the property and violate the health officer's order, correct? Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, it would not only be the health officer's order, it would be a court order granting the injunctive relief to the county. I'm assuming if you applied for an injunction, you would use the health officer's order as well as the county's own code that it's a public nuisance.
That's where I think it's two different asks. So the injunction to follow the health officer's order is one ask, and then that's the county code, the requirement to follow the county code would be a different ask. That's two separate things. And we would have to do some research, because I think from my understanding of what I've looked at, I need to go back and look at this, but we are the enforcement agents for basically the health officer, right?
Well, what I assume that the injunction, you basically be enforcing the injunction under contempt. Sorry.
I think if I'm recalling correctly. So I need to go back and look to make sure that I'm recalling that correctly. But I believe we are the appropriate agents for that. I believe so. I needed to make sure. However, whether we would use county code to go after a situation where the jurisdiction, the statutes seem to specifically indicate the jurisdiction would be the health district. that would be something we'd have to look at separately. That's a separate issue. So that would be a separate thing in my mind.
Yeah, and Rebecca, I'm just looking at, and I just pulled it up quickly, the county UDC, and under your code enforcement, it just states that whenever the Grant County Sheriff determines that any condition creates a present or imminent hazard or is likely to create a hazard to the public safety, health, or welfare to the environment or to public or private property, the sheriff may declare such condition a public nuisance. I just think for economy of, if we're going to open a complaint in Superior Court for injunctive relief, why wouldn't you include all of the tools and rather than limit it to just the health officer's order? I'd be wanting to give the Superior Court judge as many tools in the toolbox to craft an appropriate remedy.
We would have to do some research to see if that would be appropriate or not. Even if the BOCC was willing, we'd have to see, or the sheriff and the BOCC was willing, we'd have to see if that's appropriate, since there is specific statutes regarding the jurisdiction of this, like the sewage issues, that is under the district, the health district's jurisdiction. So it's going to require some research, and then walking through the process. I think the injunctive relief under the order is a separate issue, and I would have to research it, but I don't think that will be a problem. But the other piece might be a problem. I'd have to research that.
Okay, well, for discussion purposes, assuming that you've got the same kinds of provisions in your nuisance code that most of the cities in Grant County have, and that would give you the enforcement authority. If that's confirmed, then I guess what the health district is looking for at this point is a commitment from the county that if we deliver this health officer order on Saturday, we have the support of the county and can represent that to the property owners and the inhabitants so that they know there will be enforcement coupled with the delivery of this order. In other words, we don't want to be hunting with an empty gun because that does nobody any good.
You're briefing us on this for the first time in this meeting. We need some time to look at it. We can try, and unfortunately it's a short week. So yes, we will more than likely want to be willing to do that, but we need some time to look at it.
Okay, well, when I came in, after staff had started working on this, and my understanding from staff was that the county commissioners had been getting lots of calls, and so I thought the county was kind of walking through this journey with us, and we were picking up the laboring oar at this stage, but I didn't realize this was something that you were all unaware of.
We've been aware of it. I talked to Stephanie about it last week. So.
But it hasn't come to, it hasn't risen to
No,
us.
this is something
It's not risen
I
to
just
this level.
heard about it last week. We've been CC'd on some emails, and apparently it's been going on since January.
I just got an invite to this meeting and I had no clue what it was about, so.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So
here we are.
Get an update and see what's going on. I guess, and see what we can do to help.
Okay, well, obviously, you're aware of the time issues that we're faced with, and recognizing that it is a short week, hopefully in the next 3 days, you'll have time, Rebecca, to do some research and talk to your internal team and let us know what direction the county is prepared to take, if anything.
We'll try.
Yeah, we'll try. I'll try to raise it with the sheriff too.
Yeah, because we're going to move forward and deliver the letter, and if the letter is not successful, we're kind of at the end of our resources. So then it would be up to the county to do the enforcement action. So I'm just hoping that the message delivered from a unified front to these folks would provide the most impetus for them to obey the order.
Have they been educated on how they can take care of this problem?
Yes.
Have they been educated on some of these craft, like there's a craft 3 loan where they can borrow money to go fix their septic system? Have they been?
Yes. Yep, they have been given that information.
Okay.
So they can borrow money even though they have no legal interest in the property.
Well, no.
So
it would have to be the homeowner. Okay.
And if anybody comes across a phone number for the property, that would be incredibly helpful. Because up to this point, we have an address and a name. And I want to thank the county for helping us to locate that.
Have you checked with the sheriff's office to see if they could possibly locate somebody? I don't know if they would be able to.
Yeah, we could look at Spillman or something,
Yeah.
And our angle is contacting the this mortgage company who may not be aware of anything.
Yeah, I mean, the
And
mortgage
they,
company has-
and so it's their collateral.
Yeah.
I don't think they're allowed to share it though unless they have something more than just.
So you can do a public records request.
Not for the mortgage company. But mortgage
No,
company, I mean.
to the sheriff's department or 911. If we do it that way. Is that possible?
Yeah, but I don't know if that'd help much. Mortgage companies, when we've had luck, like when we're trying to foreclose on a property for drug use or something like that, mortgage companies are pretty quick to say, hey, wait a minute.
Well, this one's Guild Mortgage, so
So that's who.
that's who's been paying taxes. And we don't normally speak. We speak with CoreLogic that handles all the business of a lot of mortgages. So we don't really have a phone number direct to Guild, but there should be something on the internet.
I'll get that.
And just a matter of, as soon as they become aware of it, they may all of a sudden want to be helpful and resolve and fix their collateral.
I'll get that.
Okay, so yeah, if you can send us all the background information, we'd appreciate it. I'll stick some staff on it, maybe get my interns to help. And we'll see where we can go.
Alrighty. Thank you for your time. I think you guys know how to get a hold of me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
More to come.
Yeah.
Any additional things? No. All right, then we'll go into recess at 12:02.
Anyone going to be walking upstairs to the office so I can get in?
Where is our next meeting?
I'm going up.
Okay.
Daryl, our office is open
Oh, okay.
from 8
Well,
to
not
5, so you
beside
can
there.
walk right.
Good afternoon, it is 1:01 p.m. and we are here for a Superior Court update, I assume, since we have Judge Carson with us today.
That's my understanding.
Welcome, thanks for coming.
You bet.
Locally grown Grant County Superior Court Judge.
Locally grown, that's
Sorry,
right.
I love it. What's new in your world?
How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm sorry, what's new in the world over there? Just,
What's
same
coming,
as-
what's happening, what's going? How are your cases?
Cases are good. See, I'm on the civil docket right now, so lots of unhappy landlords, but other than that.
Amen, sister.
Pardon?
Amen.
Oh,
I'm
Yeah.
a happy one. Mine moved out. I didn't have to kick him out.
there you go.
I'm
Yeah.
not happy. I'm at 10,000 and they're still there.
Yeah, it's a frustrating process, but it's a process.
Something.
Yeah, so it's good, just bouncing around, trying to keep things moving. Lots of cases, not a lot of time.
What are the majority of your cases?
Right now? Well, the majority are all civil in nature, so let's see, I have an L&I appeal trial starting at
Oh,
1:30
L&I.
today. So I've got that, and then obviously on the docket, like I said, it's mostly unlawful detainers, kind of are the majority of the cases that are on the civil calendar. Not a lot end up going to trial, but they hold up the docket.
Are you seeing a lot of those guys being, their tenants being represented by the guys out of Wenatchee?
Yeah, and it's a little bit frustrating, particularly, you know, counsel who's retained for the landlords, because they come in and then it's, if they do appear, they have to get appointed an attorney, so you kick it out 2 weeks, but they're not able to reach a live human. You know, they'll try, they'll call, they'll get the recordings, I assume, and try to talk to somebody, but don't get a call back before that next hearing. And
You get
then,
another push out.
exactly.
And every push out is $600.
Yeah, and so they, you know, it's a little frustrating for those that are paying for the attorney to have to appear for multiple continuances, but there's not a lot we can do, because if we don't do it, then anything that we ultimately do would potentially be undone, which is gonna cost the landlord even more. So I don't know, it's catch-22. But yes, they are appearing. Judith Lurie is on the calendar every week and kind of takes note of those cases, but needs to get a little bit more efficient, in my opinion, in order for it to move cases along, because there's a lot of them. But they are resolving cases, so good or bad, I don't know.
What's the average time now for those 6 weeks?
Probably at a minimum, maybe. I mean, I finally entered a resolution on one that, let's see, I was over in juvenile until the 1st of May. The case had already had a few hearings before I rotated in, and we finally just resolved it last week. So it had been tumbling along a bit longer than that.
10 weeks.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have one that I started in March.
You're doing it wrong.
And the other
But-
one was 3 weeks.
Did
but-
you just say he's doing it wrong? You're doing it wrong. We're having our expert.
I mean, and it's also not really on court congestion on those either. It's really just, I don't know what takes them so long, because it's them coming in and their attorney saying, we need a continuance. Unlike criminal matters, we don't have them establish good cause for their continuances, so we just kind of grant it. So I don't know what the reasons always for those continuances are. If they were to ask for a hearing, which happened last week on a new case where they were, this won't get resolved by an agreement, we need a contested hearing, they're just, you know, a couple weeks out. So, yeah. So on those ones, it's not for lack of court time, I don't think. It's whatever's going on behind the scenes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all different.
Yeah. But there have been continuous complaints raised and objections raised by privately retained counsel about the ineffectiveness of the state's program and them not funding it well enough to have enough lawyers to represent these people to move them through the process quick enough.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's what's happening in the civil land. Criminal land is continuing as always, and juvenile as well. So, not a lot of updates from me.
I just always wonder who Washington State thinks is gonna fund the government if they keep making everybody, you know, not have to earn income. Kind of confusing to me.
We'll just have to work harder, I guess.
Yeah, the few
Yeah,
that
then
make
you
the
need
money.
to sell more real estate. So
It's
you-
like,
Guess so.
I've got 9,000 into an eviction, and you know, I look at it as then I pay property tax, which then funds this operation, and then also then the state pays for their attorney to continually continue. And I think I'm at like 3, maybe 4 times. And it's just kind of like, what is your end goal here? You know,
Yeah.
at the state level. I get like, give ample time to find a new place to move or things like that, or not getting treated unfairly, but I guess it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Does not have to make sense.
Could always get out of landlord business.
It's true.
Or I just have an accident in that one or something. I don't have any others available.
Anywho.
I have no further questions for you. That's a sore topic, man.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
It gets better.
I know.
It gets better. Yeah.
Just gotta get rid of this last one.
Yep.
Luckily, the last one, threatened to kill someone, so she got evicted quickly. Once I'm out with this one, we're in the home stretch.
Until you
Get another one.
Yeah,
And it will happen.
again, out of the business is the best bet.
I'm gonna
there.
try it the other
But-
way next, so. See what happens then.
But yes, so by way of update, things are rolling just fine.
Are you liking it?
Yeah, I am.
Good.
I'm liking, well, I guess it's not necessarily me that's liking it because I'm not on the other side of the tables anymore, but it is nice to have 3 judicial officers able to fully share.
Mm-hmm. Is it more efficient?
Absolutely. Mhm. Yeah.
You guys switch out every 4 months or every 3 months?
Yeah,
4
every
months.
4. Yep, so I will be moving in September.
Then you go to criminal?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, yep. So, yeah, so I think it's running quite well. I think the other 2 are quite happy with the fact that now they can actually enjoy a day off and be able to plan for that and not have to worry about calendars and backlogs, and we're able to get stuff
It's been a
scheduled,
long
which I
time
think,
coming, so.
yeah, I think it's been good. We did have retired Mr. Nodell appear as counsel today on a hearing and
Well, I thought he was here.
Yeah, so he's picking up a case or 2, I guess.
really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
we'll see. So, but it's good, yeah. It's working well.
Great. Any further questions for Judge Clarkson? Not either. Anything for us? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll go into recess until 1:15. Good afternoon. It's 1:22 p.m. and we are here for a district court update.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing terribly exciting going on. I have Glenn today. He's off doing fun things. We got renewed funding for our therapeutic court through AOC. So that contract is with Barbara Durbeck for review. And then it will go to consent, probably not till next week. And then we just submitted an application for that small and rural court security grant that we had talked to you guys about. We're just requesting an additional security camera outside of Commissioner's chambers in the lobby on the 2nd floor. There's one there now, but the view goes like kind of from the old switchboard out towards the main doors of the historical building. And she has that little Harry Potter chambers under the stairs. And so she can't see who's outside. I think we talked about this, outside her courtroom when she comes out of court. So we requested that. I got the quote from TS and some software and programming and whatnot to go with that, because that would be going on a 3rd platform. So we have Exact Vision, Blue Iris, and then now this other one would be going on a different platform. So we're going to try to move them all to one platform for a district court so that we don't have to have like multiple platforms and logins for the cameras that we need to have access to. And we also are requesting 5 more badge readers. I'm kind of trying to work with Kevin in maintenance, but these are hard because we don't know for sure if the grants are going to come out. They come out in the middle of the year. So it's not something that he necessarily had budgeted for, but he did have some card readers that he was going to do that he thought maybe he could just move them around, do these ones this year instead, bump the other ones But I was not able to get information from him for the grant, so I just submitted what information I could based on what we paid last year to give them estimated numbers, but I didn't have an actual quote, which is what they prefer. So I don't know if we'll get funding for that or not. But the cost share for the county this year is only 20%. Last year it was 40%. So those projects would be relatively inexpensive for us. And then last year's project with this same grant, we did a bunch of the badge readers. We, under our grant, were able to fund the conference rooms on the second floor of the annex. Those badge readers fell under the grant because we used those rooms. So we were able to pay for them with this funding. And the project total was over, we didn't request for all of it. And so they had additional funds and they're allocating some of those additional funds to us. It sounds like about 8,000, so I'll get a contract amendment for that too. And then we'll have to adjust grant reporting and whatnot with counting, but that's it. That's all I got. Nothing terribly exciting. Fast and Furious.
Any questions for Desiree? Me either. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry I was late.
Oh, no worries. You sped right through. You were perfect.
We'll go into recess until 1:30. Good afternoon, it's 1:30 p.m. and we are here with Kevin McCrae from Prosecuting Attorney's Update. And Rebecca Kaler is coming in and Leslie Nellamore is online.
Okay, first, just a real quick update on the Ramos case. This was the lady who drove her car off the end of the road. There was a summary judgment motion last week, which the county won, and the case was dismissed. So we will see if that gets appealed and where it goes from there. But right now, the case is going away.
So we're very excited about that. That was handled through our risk pool. Carl Warren was the outside attorney.
And then if you want, Leslie, if you want to come on and we can discuss the historical research issue.
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need
Executive session? Do we need it?
a potential contract issue?
Okay, man, I'm trying to think of what it would fall
You
under.
want the list?
I mean, there's nothing threatened that
Yeah.
immediately, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't think it would fall under anything. Okay, thanks. But yeah. So, yeah. I don't think there's sufficient. So, yeah, okay. So Leslie, we want to talk about the historical research issue and how that could conflict with our grants.
Okay, thank you. So thanks for giving me this contract to take a look at. I have a couple of concerns about it besides the grant that I just want to highlight for you. One is that my firm has already assembled all of your insurance contracts and evaluated them, and we have a coverage chart prepared. We'd have to update it because it's a little bit old, but I'm concerned about Historical doing work that you've already done. So that's one thing. You've got the information available to take action against carriers, and I don't want you to get caught in the situation where either you cancel the historical contract by not proceeding with task 2, and you're stuck with paying them the contingent fee if you proceed with an action against your carriers based on the work you've already done. So that's one thing. The second thing is I'm not 100% sure what they mean in their agreement about not that you agree, client agrees not to pursue any cost recovery contribution against any of the insurers identified by Historical. It's unclear to me what that means. So there are some basic concerns about the Historical contract to start with, and I'm happy to talk more about the work we've already done if you like. With regard to the grant specifically, if you look at the grant rules, you'll see that ecology takes into account the possibility that a grant recipient might get money for the site from another source. And those other sources that they identify could be a different grant, could be a grant for a different site, could be payments from third parties, other PRP, PLP parties, or it could be insurance proceeds. So there are certain things that you can use any such recoveries for. But if you get more money than that, then you have to pay ecology back. So I think to the extent that you proceed, well, so one, if you stick with historical and go down the path that they've outlined, that would still happen. If you don't stick with historical and do it independently, you're still looking at a possible reimbursement of ecology. The things that were not grant eligible are among those that you can reimburse yourselves for. So those to date would be I would be attorney's fees, except that you basically had most of those paid for by your carrier. So the part of the attorney's fees that were not paid by USF&G travelers, you could reimburse yourselves for from those proceeds, and potentially for operation and maintenance costs that proceed into the future. In any event, I wanted to highlight for you the possibility that you might get a recovery for which you actually net very little or nothing.
So from what I understand from historical, one, I probably agree with you that they're not going to find anything because you guys have already done the work. The historical is only going to get paid if they find something we don't already know about, which is what you've already provided to us. It's my understanding.
Correct.
And so if they don't find anything, we're in the same boat we're at. And I guess I wasn't sure about this whole grant thing, because historical does get a piece of the proceeds. So do we have to reimburse ecology for the piece of the proceeds historical would get?
No, I don't think you have to necessarily reimburse ecology for the proceeds historical could get. Maybe, I don't know, because I don't know how much you're going to get, if anything, and I don't know how much of the eligible costs you'd have to reimburse. It could be that you have to pay ecology back and pay historical the same amount of money.
Could we go to ecology and ask them to clarify that?
Well, you could, but it'll be a lot easier if you have numbers, and I'm hoping that you don't actually get to the numbers where you're paying historical money.
Which is entirely possible. Okay.
Well, we'll have to cross that bridge when you come to it. I mean, we don't know if there's anything out there. I mean, it sounds like you guys already done the work, but I don't believe Andy knew or could find where anybody had done the work. He
Well,
said
we told them we'd already done the work.
Well, he said that, but
yeah,
they couldn't find anything. And he went back in Sam Castro's emails and looked, and they couldn't find anything. So that's the reason why we went down that road. So it'd be nice to have that information.
You know, my understanding is he knew that they had already done a bunch of this. They just wanted another shot at it. Is that not?
I thought Tom Gaines ran into him at a leadership conference, and he thought, oh, was that?
I mean, I can email him and clarify that.
Okay, I think it was more of a, hey, we found this person.
Yeah, no, I ran
And they've
into
offered to do this.
at
Was it
the NACO
Andy
conference.
or?
It was me.
Tom? Oh, it was you?
Yeah.
Oh, correction, it was
Yeah.
Devin.
And then we,
I'm sorry, I'm having a really hard time hearing the commissioners.
so when I spoke to Andy, he had went through Sam Castro's old emails to try to figure out who did the work, and we weren't able to find any.
That's because it goes back before Sam Castro. It goes back to Damon,
Damien.
or even earlier to Derek Poley.
Yeah,
It goes
Jeff
back a long
Gentry,
ways.
Okay.
Derek Poley, it was Derek Poley who.
I will email historical and make sure that they're aware that somebody's already done a lot of this, and you know.
Yeah, so basically, just to give you a little bit more background, Steve Hallstrom, when he was in your chair, Rebecca, met with the county's insurance broker who was retiring I can't remember his name. I think it was Bob something. And Steve went over and looked through all of Bob's records, which included all of the county's policies up to the time you joined the risk pool. And then I went over and picked up the files and we went through them and identified those policies that might respond to this, put together a chart, coverage chart, and then gave back to y'all all of those files during Damon's term. So we have reviewed the policies pre-risk pool. You have those policies pre-risk pool, and it's unclear to me what else historical might find. So Kevin, that would be a question I think that you'd want to ask them.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really expect them to find anything, but it didn't really think it hurt to have somebody look if they really wanted to.
Yeah, no, I agree. For what we're paying, the initial part of it,
Yeah.
I didn't figure we're out that much money, so.
But I will make sure that my understanding when we went into the contract was it only counts if he finds something we didn't know about. And so I'll make sure he's clear on that.
Exactly. It only helps us if he finds something that we didn't know about previously.
Right. Okay, I will clarify that point.
Yeah, and that is not clear to me from the contract. So if you can clarify that, that would be obviously to everyone's benefit.
Certainly, I will do that.
And then the second piece is with regard to third parties. Are they also looking at that? I can't tell from, it says they may, but I can't tell whether they are doing that as well.
That wasn't part of our agreement with them.
Okay. Okay, because we also had a fair amount of correspondence with Boeing and others about trying to bring them to the table and basically not having the evidence to do that. So if they want to do that, we should talk about that before they proceed down that path and potentially cost you even a little bit more money.
Okay.
But the biggest thing I wanted to highlight for y'all is that there's some risk that you would end up owing more money than you recover. If you have to reimburse ecology and if you have to pay historical 10% of what you recovered, that total could be equal to or greater than what you actually recovered.
Okay, thank you. Anything else we need to talk about? Okay. Thank you, Leslie. I appreciate it.
Okay, just the harbinger of bad news here.
Always.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie. It's good seeing you.
Bye.
Bye.
Any other issues?
Not for me.
Nope, we started looking into the health district thing, so we'll hopefully get back to you on that. That's all we have.
All right, anything for them?
That's it.
Just a little update. We met with HR today. We'll be developing an interview team to start interviewing. I'm sure your office will be notified to have somebody sit on that committee.
Interview team for my position or something?
Yes.
Okay.
On July 14th, though, they should submit names. They're interviewing on the 12th. Hopefully the list of.
Are you guys gonna sit in on those?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the Republican one, no.
Oh, okay.
No, probably not.
Okay.
So we have a time slot scheduled Monday afternoon. If we get the names by Monday morning.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
I'm pretty gonna see what the names are, but yeah. Okay.
Why are you laughing?
It is 1:42 p.m. We will go into recess. Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 2 p.m. and we are here for our weekly commissioners meeting consent agenda. I will now call the meeting to order and begin with an open forum for public comment. 3 minutes per person, 15-minute time limit. If we have any members of the audience with public comment, hearing none, I also see no members online. So I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the public comment portion of this hearing.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Chair, I move to scratch that first motion there. I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Agenda is approved. Do we have any correspondence, emails, letters of support?
I do not.
Okay. Do we have any roundtable items?
Yeah, on number 11, the approval for the budget extension hearing for the land use attorney is Fund 125. Is that planning?
Yeah.
For, oh yeah, the development
That
services
was
one?
under
Yes.
miscellaneous general government, and now they're moving
Yeah, I just
it.
want to make sure I
Yes,
know it.
but it needs to be corrected because I misunderstood what needed to happen. It's not a request for a budget extension hearing. It's just a request for a transfer of funds from development services to miscellaneous general government.
And then number 13, Andy would like that pulled. The request for the Department of Ecology for the litter cleanup.
All right, we're removing that.
You also do have one walk-on item.
Blair, I was just gonna ask Blair on all the towing contracts, he has reviewed them for insurance.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Who
Does it
reviews
say
them?
on the paper if it's been reviewed?
So we've always reviewed to make sure that they have insurance. Janice did that too. Has Gary done that? Who's over contracts? Review for insurance?
Gary had sent them to, you sent them about insurance for your towing contracts?
No, I'm just as surprised I didn't know what was on here. I'm actually here for the walk-on item, but
We have a walk-on?
Yeah, we
Yes.
do have a walk-on now for corrections, a travel to Union County, Oregon to pick up an inmate for extradition.
Okay. I didn't know we had a walk-on. It must have just popped in our office.
It just
Yes.
walked on.
yeah,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Literally
Like,
just, yeah.
yes, ma'am. We had over this past weekend, we had a pretty serious DV assault that occurred out Shady Tree RV Park. Deputies were able to identify who he was. He was picked up by LeGrand PD on a DUI. We walked everything through the prosecutor's office yesterday to get a
Okay.
warrant for his arrest for attempted murder. So we just need to send somebody down there. He waived extradition this morning, so we just need to send somebody down there to pick him up.
In Oregon?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sending 2 people?
We're sending 2 of our corrections deputies tomorrow morning.
So on this towing contract, because we've usually reviewed them to make sure they have insurance on there.
I just sent Blair a Teams
Okay.
message and I haven't heard back yet.
It's not this a big deal because I know it's coming. I just wanted to verify. I believe on the contract they were supposed to have.
I will step out and make a quick phone call. It's either Chief Deputy Sainsbury or Sergeant Fulbright who.
Sergeant Fulbright is the one that sent them to be on consent.
Okay.
I will
But I
find
think our
out.
office usually just verify.
Blair says, when were they sent to me? So they just were placed on consent. They were never sent to Blair. I didn't send them to
I will
Blair.
give an answer.
I didn't realize that.
Okay, because I believe they
was
were
supposed
mentioned
to
in the
send it to Blair.
contract that they have to have insurance.
I'll check with Sergeant Fulbright really fast.
He says he did not review them, so as far as we know, it hasn't been done, so.
Then I apologize. Is it our responsibility to send those to Blair or is it the person requesting that is supposed to be sending those to Blair for review?
Well, at number 12, it says in witness, the parties here to have hereunto set their hands the date first above written insurance. So, I mean, I'm assuming that,
I
I
assume
know
that the
most of
department sends
these
them to
companies,
that.
these tow companies have to have insurance to the state.
Just like
Otherwise,
we do with legal.
Got Beeline, Agrifix. Central Towing.
I won't worry about it. I know we've, smaller ones had some.
Yeah, you've had insurance with, or issues with people not carrying their insurance or dropping it or something.
I believe previously there's some that were in transition. So I will let that one go since we didn't review it, I guess, or we'll have.
Makes sense. David Towing.
I guess if they signed the contract stating that they had insurance, they should have insurance.
Yeah, I would guess it. Master business license, certificate of insurance, under paragraph 4. Failure to provide these documents when requested would result in immediate termination of this contract. There's a whole harmless agreement in there as well.
I'm not gonna hold it up because of that. I was just inquiring.
I can't get hold of any of them, so if you can just pull all of them.
No, I think, I'm not gonna hold it with that.
Honestly,
I think,
it says under number 4, tow companies shall be a registered tow company. Master business license provided, certificate of insurance pursuant to RCWs, Washington State Patrol Inspection Report pursuant to RCWs. So, I mean, I can't believe that.
so they've signed off that they have it, so.
And they signed them, so. I don't think it's necessary. But I'm just one person.
I agree.
You agree that I'm just one person?
No, I agree about the sign
They
off
signed
from
their
the
life
tow
away
company.
on it.
But is Blair online or not online?
No, I sent him a Teams message and asking if he reviewed them, and he goes, when were they sent to me? And I said, it doesn't sound like they were.
It'd probably be worth having them look at them.
Does he review contracts for
When
engineers?
people send them to him, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the departments and elected officials, like the legal process, they send them to legal for review, they send them to Blair for review.
So we're, okay, I
Well,
just
this
didn't know if there was.
contract started May 8th, so to confirm they have insurance, I don't think it would be a big deal to hold one since they've already been operating 2 months.
It's fine if they didn't. I think we continue forward on it. I was just, again, more curious if we were reviewing that, if that was something we wanted to review, we don't review.
We have 2 okays, we're good?
Yeah,
I would agree.
fine. They signed their life away. I'm good with it. Mr. Chair, is that, do we have any?
I think that's it, eh?
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda items 1 through 27, removing item number 13 for Public Works and correcting number 11, instead of a budget extension, it is a transfer of funds from the planning department to miscellaneous general government.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, consent agenda is approved as stated by Commissioner Carter.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the walk-on for the extradition for 2 correction officers to go to Oregon. Pick up. visit the Shady Tree RV Park, yes, to bring him back to Grant County.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to approve the walk-on item.
But it must have just come in, because I'm like, we just asked earlier, is there a walk-on?
Yeah, the last second.
Careful with the Shady Tree RV Park. Where's that even located at?
Right there at the intersection of 283, you know, at that Shell station there.
Okay, right there by George.
Yep.
Okay.
Should we all make music as we walk up to the table?
Do, 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 do.
Jeez.
Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Easy,
you.
Kevin. I'm trying to calm myself.
Oh, it's right here. Our walk-in is right here. So I would recommend maybe if Blair has time to look at those contracts after the fact. And to see, because we have run into a situation where they weren't always current. That's all.
Well, I think we should have copies.
For sure.
Yep.
Guess we have it on our record. Should we probably go online, verify that they do have insurance. Yeah.
You just look it up through their DOT or what? My DOT stuff all shows on there, but I don't know if my insurance is on there. Definitely can't afford the insurance.
So this is our last check, the homeless grant, is that right?
No, that was May.
We're still making,
1 more ago.
For Moses Lake.
personnel, 24,000. Admin, 20 million.
I think an efficient group could run that for much less money.
We did it for a lot less than that. But like, you know, laundry, just burn the sleeping bags and just go get new ones.
Yeah.
Literally, why are we paying so much money for dry cleaning? $800, $657, $694. Honestly. They never really complain.
Send some notes.
Letters? Oh, these?
Yes. These,
Oh, thanks for applying.
yes. It's normally,
Normally you would have like one applicant.
yep.
You're turning into homeless, you're buying a house, you're gonna turn into homeless. can
You know,
certainly run it.
I should do an RV park. Then they don't pay. I can shut down the water, right?
Depends what temperature it is outside.
Well, that's a different.
I'd tow it out of
Like
there.
a hotel motel.
Yeah.
So you're completely different set of rules.
I was thinking, man, actually that property I have would be perfect for that.
County?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a Group A water system or do you have city
I
water?
do, but I need that city water.
Good luck.
And you have to
Do you have
do,
sewer?
And I have a B. Is it a B?
Yeah, so every
Yeah. I have like,
faucet is considered.
Like, yeah, I have that.
so don't you have to have it zoned? You have to be in the right zone.
I'm zoned to be anything. I am. I had some ideas, but I don't think I should do them.
I'll zone and verify.
No, I am. It's like the best zoning you
The
can
all
be.
around zone.
Rural commercial, one with like 2.
And RV parks fall in that.
Yeah, almost everything falls in it.
How many acres do you have there? Couple?
5 buildable, usable, not impeded with
Well,
easements.
they're out in the middle of nowhere, it's pretty dollar general. Dollar general. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
It's not in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, you couldn't do an RV because
I think RV parks are only, they're 9 months out of the year, they're always, you're not supposed to have 24/7, so it's considered a.
I just stayed in an RV park this weekend. It was horrible. They sold me a 40-foot space. I got there, it was 25 feet and 50 amps, and I got there and it was 30.
Did somebody take your spot?
I don't know, but didn't have any hot water. Couldn't even open the doors.
Is that close?
Yeah, I had to close the ladders up into the bunkhouses. So there were like three guys that had the ladders and closed in with them.
Where were you at?
In Spokane. Let's just say when I was pulling in, somebody was dragging their tent down the road. And when they
You hang out some pretty shady places.
when they complained about it,
Like the shady tree, are you on the shady tree?
it was called the Park Lane on Sprague Ave,
Oh.
No wonder.
right there, like by McDonald's.
Oh, it's because you're close to the fairgrounds.
I was real close to the fairgrounds, yeah. Because of course the fairgrounds, for being a big fairgrounds expo center, they don't really allow camping. It's a really weird.
They don't have RVs.
They do, but they weren't.
It's full.
No, they just don't rent spaces during Hoop Fest, I guess. Didn't really make a lot of sense. Before I get crazy, we had the one, we pulled it already.
Yeah, I took it.
Yeah, thanks. Good mess.
Snuck it out.
Good. Yep.
I'm sorry right now, thinking, I'm just saying, I'm gonna ring your neck. Do not want to call. That's not what this is.
So.
Starting our arduous task with extra dinner tonight.
Had spaghetti squash last night.
Tacos last night, so Taco Tuesday.
Different kind of taco. Just use a different meat.
Pear tortellini, that was fabulous.
Wait, did you say pear?
Tortellini.
Pear tortellini? What do you put that in?
No pear, little pear mash, little tortellini.
Oh,
It's like a cheese, you know, like it's
I
just
thought you
has
were saying
a
like
little sweet. It's like
pear
a cheese.
flavored or something
You know,
tortellini?
you know that like have cheese, you know, like a grape.
It's a lot of towing contracts.
It's one of my favorite things.
those motorhomes.
So I would try to. Let's see, it looks like it's gonna take me an hour or two to make it. That's fine.
I'll tell you, it's good. That takes a long time.
Yeah, it's right there on the left.
Oh, look at that flag. You guys look like a flag.
I'm driving up to visit my in-laws up in Kettle Falls. We go on the boat. It'll be Lily's first time on the boat. I'm very excited.
No, on the Kettle River, you know, Roosevelt.
Couldn't tell you. They said, we're going out on the boat. And I said, great, sign me up.
I'm sure they've already got a lifeguard or a life jacket.
Yes. We got a life jacket. We have a mini fishing pole for her.
You know, those mini fishing poles can really catch fish.
They caught 59 perch
Oh, wow.
wherever it is that we're going. They caught 59 perch there last weekend.
You're probably not going on the Kettle River.
Maybe they're still fishing unless it's like in the green water.
Oh.
Would you eat the fish that's coming out the green? Is
It comes
not
out
harmful?
seasoned.
It seems like it would be. Oh, really? You know, with that algae, like, I don't know if I eat it.
They just taste fish.
Really?
Nasty.
Tastes fishy.
What kind of fish?
A fishy fish.
Do they put it as it's like, is it catfish?
Catfish don't taste very good on their own anyways. They're bottom feeders.
Largemouth bass,
Yeah.
trout.
Catfish in there, huh?
We were just playing around here, 2 weeks ago? And I threw a line out for my daughter. She caught a nice thing. About that long. Out there by the state park. It was a nice fish.
And what did you catch?
I didn't fish because I didn't have my license.
Oh.
You don't have to have your license if you're younger.
Huh?
You have to have your license if you're younger.
A kid.
16, no.
Okay, I didn't know that.
You're 16.
I don't think I've ever had a,
Under 16. Okay. You don't have to have a fish.
we have a two little ponds, we don't have a license.
It was so loud. I'm so sorry.
And
Stock your own pond.
we like big mouth ponds.
All right, nothing further. It is 2:23 p.m. and we will recess the commissioners' meeting. We will be back at 3 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Over at our Diesel Cousins.
For an open record public hearing.
For a open record public hearing for adding Blue Lake Moore Roads to golf cart zone. Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 3 p.m. and we are here for an open record public hearing for consideration of an ordinance adding Blue Lake and Moore Roads to golf cart zone in the Grant County Code titled Operation of Golf Carts. To help us from Public Works today, we have Barb O'Neill and Dave Brand.
I would say that since I've been part-time for 3 months now, that Barb's been really doing a good job filling in the space. So I will let her make some comments about it. I think it's pretty what you were describing this morning.
Yes, so we received a petition in 2021 to make Moore Road a WATV and golf cart area. In May of 2022, we set the hearing and we had the hearing, but the resolution that we signed just added to WATV. It did not add to golf carts. So this is just to sign it into the golf cart ordinance, and the speed limit is already set. So I have all of the documentation, including Susan's recommendations and stuff. So I can go over some of that if you need.
No, I thought we did this earlier, so.
We did.
Thank you for
Yes.
refreshing my memory. I thought this is a submittal. I have no questions.
None for me either.
Me either. I'm good.
And we can go ahead and open the public comment portion of this hearing. We do not have any members in the audience. Shiloh appears to be online. We could make sure that is her though.
We can. Okay,
Shiloh, we know you're online. Do you have any public comment today?
Take that as a no, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of this hearing.
So moved.
Second that.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to close the public comment portion of this hearing.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the ordinance modifying chapter 11-34 of the Grant County Code, Title 11 Vehicles and Traffic, allowing the operation of golf carts upon designated county roads, as presented by Engineer and Public Works.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes to approve the adoption of ordinance adding Blue Lake and Moore roads to golf cart zone as stated by Commissioner Carter. Thank you. This concludes our public hearing. We will be back at 3:15 for a public hearing for 6-year TIP. Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 3:15 p.m. and we're here for an open record public hearing for the consideration of the adoption of the 2026 to 2031 6-year transportation improvement plan. To give us a brief overview, we have interim county engineer Dave Brand.
Thank you. All right, so on our website, we posted this draft 6-year tip. So it's been available for just less than a month, usually June every year. I like to get it posted and out there because by the end of June, we need to get it into our capital facilities plan. We need to have this over to Jim and planning to be able to get it in there each year. Each year we have an opportunity to update this 6-year plan that continues to roll, basically 6 years. Since I've been part-time, the opportunity for us to meet has unfortunately not been what it needed to be this year. But I did make very few changes. So nice thing about it is we had a really good 6-year plan last year, and I only updated it a little bit. Things that I updated, let me show you those so that you know that. So when you go to the website, you open up the draft, and I think you also have a hard copy of this or have in your hearing packet. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. This is for the next 6 years. So that starts with next year, 26, and goes to 31. One of the things that you'll see in there is I like to show what we did for the last 2 years, including this year. So I'm showing the results of 24 and then the results of 25 because they have an effect on our 6-year plan going forward. For example, projects that we have not completed in 24 or 25 need to get rolled forward. So that's why I like to show, and it's not required to show the previous years, but I think it's absolutely necessary. So for example, on 24, everything green was completed. Anything blue, I had to roll that forward. And you notice I put little notes about rolling it forward to 26 or perhaps 25. So this year, right now, what are we doing? Well, we have these projects are under construction, the ones that you know about. Yes, the the Stratford Road project, which is now, we have 4 miles, I think, of asphalt torn up right now. And then West Shore, of course, is ongoing. So these are the projects that are ongoing now. Anything blue, I had to roll that forward to 26 or later. So really what I did is I took last year's plan and I did very mild updates. So I rolled any projects that we have not completed forward in time. In addition, I did balancing. So the goal would be, say, about $10 million in capital roads a year. So you'll notice that the estimated total for each year, starting in 26, is around 10 million. I try to balance that. I also try to balance the grant funding versus our local funding so that we're not not spending too much of the local funds in any one year because we need that for any hiccups in projects. You need to have a road fund there. Road fund, the idea is to use the road fund money to a small amount, 10, 15%, to leverage grants, which are going to be 80 to 85%, right? So that's what you're seeing each year. There's a grants column, then there's a funds column, and then there's the total of those projects. Again, this is for 26, and you'll see each year, and what we're doing is taking any projects that were not completed in the year of and moving it forward. And then also balancing too, because it's important to balance those. And sometimes some of these grants are only eligible for a certain period of time. So sometimes they have to be moved up. It is a little bit of a balance. So in short, we did not change projects very much. We have 45 projects on our 6-year plan, and it's about $50 million worth. So the next 3 years have been balanced for about 10 million each. And then year 4, 5, and 6, you'll see that we're tapering off from 10 million down to 6. And that's normal because projects keep getting added in the future, and it's important to balance it too. I think with our current staff right now, we cannot achieve that 10 million per year. We really need to staff up to be able to conduct these projects, and we're just too thin. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but it's hard to find engineers, hard to find engineering technicians right now. So there's the balance, there's moving projects forward, and a very few amount of changes. So one of the changes that was made, I can show you, is the gravel to oil program. A very slight adjustment in which, for the next 3 years, which gravel to oil projects happen, because we can't just do a $400,000 gravel to oil project. So what I tried to do is get them all down to 200 to 250,000 a year to kind of spread those gravel to oil projects out. That being said, within 4 years, we're right back into the same order as scored. But that's really the only major change, is just an adjustment to the gravel to oil program, trying to balance it out. The realities of funding, because the way that we had it for the previous years, we showed some years where we were doing 600,000 of gravel to oil. And if you think about it, 600,000, if you take 600,000 and you leverage that at 10 to 1 or 15% to 85%, that 600,000 would give you $300,000 in grants. So that is precious money. Gravel to oil is 100% local pay, so there's not grants with that. Now, that being said, I did notice in the future there is some projects on the gravel to oil program that are eligible for federal funding, which is kind of cool. But there's a few years before they'll start coming up. So for another day, right? So normally, typically, we should do 2 to 3 workshops prior to the tip. That being said, we've gone through all the proper steps, and in addition, we've made very few changes from the year before. And we've had it posted for almost a month as well. I haven't received any comments. That, I guess, any questions?
Okay, so the roundabout is for 2026 on
Dodson.
12 Southwest.
I really would have liked to see that happen this year, but it's just about horsepower. We just don't have enough horsepower to get that out.
Well, it's probably for the best right now because it's getting close to harvest.
Yes, good point.
By the time, more of a burden than anything.
What's left on Drumheller? Still that rocky section?
Excellent question. So this year, we're supposed to hit that rocky, and if you've driven through lately, you know it looks great on either side of it. And then you have 3/4 of a mile, very difficult going. That's supposed to happen this year. To basically make it look like either side, the other 3 to 4 miles on either side. What will happen, as soon as we get rid of that rocky portion in the middle, I think people will just start taking it. I know it is a primitive road.
I know some will.
But it'll be fairly drivable. I mean, it's I mean, I just went through there about 2 weeks ago with my Xterra, and it was beautiful drop on either end for 3 miles and that little piece in the middle, right? So then take a look at what happens the next year in 26. The proposal is to, let me zoom in on that.
Gravel surface.
You got it. And
4
there is
miles.
a pit to, the closest pit to the south has 50,000 yards of what are called tailings. So after one of the public projects is conducted and they do spec gravel, there is gravel that's very close to spec that it can be used, really. So the idea is there's 50,000 yards right at the south end of Drumheller. We can use that to rough in a gravel road. And then hopefully sometime in the future, we can look at improving that with the BST road. But it is 8 miles, so we might have to spread that out. And look what I did. I spread it out over 2 years, I think, the gravel surface. Basically, we're gonna have to take trucks, and we're gonna have to move that material up, and we're gonna have to spread it out. But we're really good at that. That's what we do. We maintain the county roads all the time, which means bringing in gravel and spreading it at times. And the material is available, which is and at no cost, close by. So you'll see every year at 26 on up to 30, there is little projects to keep working on Drumheller.
That'll be nice.
It's getting close. If we can get to the point where I can go after changing its classification to get a federal classification change, I'm going through that with the city on some projects. So if we can get it classified as a collector, we can go after federal money to put the paved surface on it.
Good.
We want to, yeah, that's later, I guess. What about any gorge developments in that area? I don't see maybe 12.
Correct. So we've had certain meetings with kind of a larger gorge team, and we've identified some projects. Those have not formally been put into our TIP. But I think that's a good idea. We need to also define how we're going to pay for it, though. Right now, we don't have that defined, if you will. So that's the tough thing. And I remember in the hearing that we've had in the past on that, or in meetings we've had in the past, you brought up the point that maybe every couple of years we can look at another LTAC supported project. So maybe that could be one of the funding sources. We should have, and I think maybe that's something that we should have some workshops on moving forward. What projects do we need to bring in, and what kind of funding sources?
Okay. Any other questions on the tip?
No. Thank you, Dave.
Then we will open up the public comment portion of this hearing. We do not have any audience in the room. Shiloh is the only attendee online. You can ask again.
Okay, Ms. Shiloh, we will be opening your availability to talk. Do you have any comment for this hearing? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the public comment portion of this hearing.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Public comment portion of this hearing is closed.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the Transportation Improvement Program for the years 2026 to 2031.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to adopt the 6-year transportation improvement plan as presented today. Thank you. That concludes our hearing. We will be back for 3:30 for a surplus hearing. Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, July 1st, 3:30 p.m. and we're here for an open record public hearing to consider declaring surplus items for public works, 9 items that are county-owned vehicles or equipment. To give us an overview, we have John Spees with us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let's see, the first four items, the Bomag BW11 RH rollers, they are basically all the same machine. We are surplusing 4 of them because we replaced them with 2 larger rollers. Been a lot more efficient. Number 0086 Freightliner, that is our small 1,800 gallon oil distributor. That will be surplus after the oil season is over. We're keeping it through the season as a backup. Number 450 Trail East trailer, that's that one, and the 1502 Interstate trailer. Both of those are being surplus or being replaced by one 3-axle trailer. Number 0667 Ford 500, it's just a regular 4-door sedan. We replaced it with a Maverick hybrid. And 2480 Berg oil supply tank, that is a fleet reduction. It's been in Royal City for years and hasn't seen use in a very long time. So that's about it. Any questions?
Yeah, what auction site will these be sold at?
They'll be on publicsurplus.com.
Yeah, it says and or gov deals.
Yeah.
You just put them on one or the other.
Yep. Yeah.
I have no question.
No questions for me? We will go ahead and open the public comment portion of this hearing. Again, we have no one in the audience and Shiloh online with her microphone not working. So we do know it is her online, so I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment portion of this hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to close the public comment portion of this hearing.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the surplus items as presented by Public Works.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to declare the 9 county-owned vehicles and or equipment described by Mr. Spees for Public Works as surplus. Thank you. This concludes our hearing, and we will recess for today.